until like a day or two ago.
That's
And
so
I
sick.
shot awake in the middle of the night. I was like, I left Draco on
I
red.
saw that one. Yeah, let me get this started. But like I saw that you immediately went, "Oh fuck, I left Draco Kraken on red." And I
Yeah,
was just like, "Oh Jesus."
so I DM'd him.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm so fucking sorry I left you on red. And he's like, oh good, it's for a for fun project anyways.
Yeah.
So I sort of just like considered for a day or two on the image that had been submitted.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, so serotonin actually has no chiral centers in it.
Right.
And I should probably pick a molecule that chirality is important.
Right.
And amino acids, chirality is super fucking important.
Gotcha.
And amino acids are also cool because like they've found amino acids like on asteroids, which means that they're basically self-assembling.
Oh, sick.
Which means that it's more than likely to find carbon-based life forms elsewhere.
Hell yeah. Oh, that's
Um, so I was like, hey, can I get an amino acid and maybe a bit more of like a captain's hat?
right. No, dude,
And
it's
I got
fucking
this.
yeah, it's fucking rad. I'm a big fan of that.
Like, I'm kind of in love with it.
Dude, you should be. That's fucking sick. When we see Draco Kraken in the chat, I'm gonna gush a little bit. That's sick.
Like,
That's so fucking cool.
I kind of feel we should compensate him
Oh
because like
yeah.
this
Oh,
is
100%. Yeah. Absolutely. I
because
agree
like
entirely.
I've brought up pay like twice. I'm like, I'll get Alejo to comp you, and he's like, I mean, it's not like pro work, so not really
But
needed.
even
But
so,
but it's dude, like the image that you've got
yeah.
isn't even the full like thing. Because unfortunately Discord kind of crops it out, but on my
Oh, it's got the
lapel you
little
can see
fucking
I've got the little
logo.
table talk
Oh, it's
thing.
so fucking cool.
It's so fucking good, man.
Yeah, no, this is
I've
Draco
got like
Kraken, you're gonna get
I've got
money.
like the little leather straps on my mask.
Oh, that's so cool.
So like I'm very clearly like wearing a bodysuit and then a mask
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
a captain suit.
Yeah. Very it's so fucking cool. Hold on. I'm gonna put this
Like
up for it to be
it's so
immortalized.
fucking good.
Oh right. I should also probably put the things. Post and post. Before I get too away from it. Okay, there it goes. Hey, oh, I see you, Draco Kraken. Here and drop the version 3
I
update
even
of Garrett
love
8
the
Ball.
color
Ooh.
of the coat.
Yeah, dude, okay. This like I said, this is gonna be immortalized now on this episode. Here it is.
And dropped the V3 update of
Yes,
Garrett
I
8
I
Ball.
was gonna say I actually saw that and downloaded it. So I'm excited for that. This little profile picture that Draco Kraken made is fucking sick. It
Dude,
is
it's fucking
sick.
rad.
Like,
I was playing Halo with a friend
yeah,
and I immediately like interrupted our game so I could send it to her and I was like, fucking look at it.
yeah, fair, absolutely fair. That's so fucking cool. Shit, we have like the best community ever. Can I just say that?
Oh, I need to get the updated version of Garrett 8 Ball. Or does the version I have now work because it's a Google?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I just downloaded it. Let me pull that up on my end. I want to see because I'm just want to see it. Yeah. Oh, Windows, you're protecting me, are you? Oh, run it anyway. It's fine. Oh, it's so good. No way. No way.
What do we got? More
Oh,
info,
okay, that's
run
that's
anyway.
me. That's me in the room. I get it now.
Oh my god.
Hold on, I gotta add a window capture.
Gygax made every author a sad sack and a relic.
Oh, it's so fucking funny. Oh fuck. Okay. Wait, is it not gonna show it? Hold on. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, it doesn't show. What the fuck? Hang on. It's so good. What the fuck? Properties.
People cannot play the same class in D&D.
There it is.
Twitter is the worst thing about D&D.
This is fucking awesome. Look at this. Did you ask that with an accent? You shouldn't do accents.
D&D created a level above art and science, the Omega discipline.
Glad you asked, because as someone who's been a DM since it was 12, I would know the answer. I know that one. Yeah, that's a good question. You know, that's a good question. That reminds me that that's a good question. If we used a miniature to represent your question, it would be a statement.
I love the little torches.
I can't. This is you. Oh my god, this is so fucking cool, dude. Dude,
Fucking you up at the front like a fucking cult leader.
Yeah, exactly. I when I saw it in the memes channel, I wasn't sure. I didn't take a close enough look at it. I was like, oh, that looks cool. And now I get it. Now I get it. Oh, this is so fucking sick. Oh my god.
Yeah, I was wondering why we were like stained glass.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? But like it makes so much sense now. Oh.
Yeah, I think I commented to Draco Crack and I'm like, yeah, no, the stained glass.
Oh man.
No, apparently I forgot to.
That's fair. Angles and the dithering of the mask are still off, but it looks good still. Good job. Praise the Lord. That's right, Lux. Fucking, this is so good. This is... we've been doing this for...
fucking prime.
We are going to be at the end of the 4th year, at the end of this month, right? But like, it's been worth it for this. It's been worth it for everything. Don't get me wrong, but this is the coolest thing that's happened so far. Like, the dice were sick as fuck.
I feel kind of bad,
but
though.
like this, oh my god. Yeah.
I feel kind of bad, though, that we've been doing this show for years, but have produced nothing of quality. Much to the opposite of Draco Kraken showing up and being like, oh, here's this, now here's this, now here's this, just hit after hit after hit of like quality.
The only thing that we've done of quality is get that dice set out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we do have the dice.
But like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. That's so fucking cool. Thank you. Thank you, Draco Kraken. Okay.
This is fucking rad. I love this. Thank you.
Shit. All right. Well, welcome back to TableTalk, discussion and discourse. As always, I'm your host, Alejo, aka Greydown95.
And I, with a newly renovated profile picture, am your second host, Captain Chiral.
That's right. And later on, Boo will join us. He is getting back from work. Probably as we speak, in fact. So, soon enough, he shall join. And today, we are going to be talking about a video that was that was brought to my attention by our lovely second host here, It is called Use Ideas from Your Players by D&D Homebrew. We've covered D&D Homebrew before. From every time we've covered him, we've been like, oh, that's pretty good. So I expect nothing less. And this was because you wanted to talk about just getting ideas and everything and utilizing them in your games that your players come up with, basically, as far as I remember when we were talking that day. So I tried to see if I could find anything as a companion piece that was the opposite, just to see if there was, and there isn't. Which is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that I didn't find anything. The companion piece for this, I figured, would be something else to help in that DM/GM space that we will be coming to, that is brought to us by Guy later on, How to Be a Great GM. But we'll get to that when we do. But for right now, this is D&D Homebrew, and let's begin. Hey, let's just crack right on.
Hey gang, it's KR King of D&D Homebrew talking today about using the ideas and connections and whatnot that the players come up with as they interact in your world to modify or to expand upon ideas you already have, or even change some of the ideas you have. And what's important here is when I'm talking about using player ideas to modify or even change the storylines or personages or setup of your world, I'm not talking about the sort of collaborative storytelling narrative game you sometimes see with RPGs, where it's a shared sort of, we're going to get together and we're going to talk out what our, not just our backgrounds or whatever as players, but we're going to have ideas about the way the world is constructed or whatever. It's not the kind of game I run. Okay. I run a world where we have this shared immersion such that I create the world, the NPCs, the monsters, the storylines, everything the players run into. Then they explore that world. And they ask me questions about it, and they investigate, and they develop alliances or enemies or, goals in terms of getting treasure or magic or the secrets of the world or, defeating the bad guys, all that kind of stuff. And we have this, what I call shared immersion. I know there's all these theories on immersion and whatnot. So mine is just that it's kind of a metagame concept, the social contract, as it were, about the game, where we're going to go into this game knowing it's an artificial construct, that I'm making this world up and the players are exploring it. We're going to act as though it were real. We're going to try to, when the players are role-playing, they're doing their thing, they're acting like they're in this world, and they're having whatever their background is, whatever their character is. They're going to act as real as they can. And I'm going to do the same with the NPCs and monsters that I create. And that artificial construct is that the world somehow exists outside of the mind of the GM and the players and must conform in that sense to certain rules we have about the real world. All the while, we know it's not the real world. So while I create the world...
I totally agree with the video thus far.
Yeah.
And I do think it's well put together. I do believe that, yes, D&D does require player buy-in.
Yes.
I'm not too positive about... Dude, Boo, look at my fucking profile picture.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Dude, this is made
by
Draco
Kraken made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good, dude.
It looks super good.
Oh my god. Anyway. Welcome.
Yes. Hello.
So... Yes, D&D requires player buy-in, but I'm not too certain how relevant this is to the video.
Yeah, I was like, I've just been letting him go because I'm trying to get him to get to the point, right?
I have been letting him cook.
I have also, and it's been 2 minutes that we have just been sitting here hoping to find the point where we're gonna start talking about using ideas from your players. I guess he's laying the groundwork efficiently for his viewpoint of how he runs games and such, right? Excuse me. I thought that we were going to talk about creating games from the beginning by, having everybody contribute and everything for the world, which I was trying to find those videos before to go with this, and one of the ones that I found
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. One of the ones that I found was How to Be a Great GM had a video where he was talking about, this was like a 4-month old video, so it's relatively new and in the new style of his new editor, so there's a lot of cuts.
A lot of cringe.
And some cringe, yes. I didn't watch the full thing because I was like, I get it, okay.
Because it hurt, yes.
It wasn't that bad, but I appreciate that. How sometimes he would have moments that he took a little too long to get, from point A to point B. He would ramble a bit sometimes and all that. It seems less like that now with his new editor, which is good enough for like the retention of it, I suppose. But anyway, he was talking about how he has this idea to have each player contribute facts about the world, right? That he's going to make, basically. So that they can have just an irrefutable fact that he can play with. And then also, there's probably more to it, obviously. Somebody can go find that video and watch it. Because we're probably not going to cover it, because it just seems like, yeah, this seems fine. But also that they have a fact about their character that is tied to the fact that they gave, right? So, like, his example, one of them being, the world is inhabited by dinosaurs. So then your character would have, right. So then your character would have something to do with dinosaurs, probably. Or something like that equates to it, or relates to it, I mean. So... getting together and kind of figuring out the world, and then the GM then creates it and everything, and then you have this world that they've contributed to and everything, is something that works as a way to use your ideas, or use their ideas to run your games. Which he has immediately said, that's not something I do. I create the world and everything. Which I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's fair enough.
Yeah,
that is absolute. Like, a lot of people do that. 2 minutes. 2 minutes of that. I get it. Where are we going? I assume later on that we're going to then say my players will have an idea for their character, right? Of like, this is how I want my character's story to kind of go, or something. And then you kind of incorporate that idea potentially. Which I'd be like, yeah, that's fair enough too. Let's do that. But yeah, just 2 minutes to get to this point. I don't know.
It seems a little long.
Seems a little repetitive as well. It'd be really hard to say ignore your players' ideas. Yes, that's why I was glad to see that there were no videos that I found that were the opposite, for sure. If I had, I would have been like, holy shit, what?
Yeah.
Which is why I looked for it. But you know.
And, you know, if we're on this topic, once we finish up with this video, there's actually a really quick Z Bashu video where he talks about a concept where he DMs and he uses his players' ideas. And it's an interesting way that he actually implements it. And that might be worth a look.
Okay. How long is it? Do you know?
Because it's like, huh?
How long is it?
Oh, it's like 4 minutes. That's it.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah. And that's the entire video, not just the actual idea. I want to say the idea might take up like a minute.
Sure.
So might be worth looking at.
Yeah, we could look at like the idea specifically or something, but yeah. Because we don't need to watch that full thing because I trust.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, okay.
Everything in it, my players in the process of exploration, where they decide to go. As I say, I run a sandbox campaign. But more importantly, how they interact with the NPCs is going to affect those storylines, is going to change things in a way I hadn't anticipated. And this is the collaboration that I'm talking about, a collaborative style without us just deciding what's going to happen. I have this set up, they make those decisions, and then things are altered to avoid kind of a railroady world. And then, of course, they come up with ideas about what is happening, what's going on, what are these relationships.
Hey guys, my internet will die for like just a second, but I will be right back.
Okay.
2 minutes and like 30 seconds to get to I run games in specific ways that most people do.
Yeah.
Which
I run.
okay. Like there's a like I was saying, there's a way to shorten this for me to understand that, and like then we get to the point. But I'm glad you laid the groundwork for your perspective and everything. That's fine. But at the same time, just trim a little bit of the fat. Trim a little bit of the fat.
Yeah, for me, it's mostly just like laying the groundwork is good, but it's mostly just because it's just annoying because it's, you know, I run games pretty much the way everybody runs them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's my only issue.
The only reason why I'm not like it doesn't annoy me as much is because most of the time I have no perspective as to how people run games sometimes, and I have to guess because of what they're saying, you know?
Yeah.
And then we come to like how does this happen?
Yeah.
How did you get here, you know? So this is at least refreshing in that aspect.
That's fair, but yeah.
No, I get you.
They're formulating, they're speculating, they're discussing with each other, because there's always a tendency towards some mystery. People keep things close to the vest, just like in real life. They don't just tell you their whole story. Depends on how you treat them, what relationship you have. Is there something they want from you? Is there something they're hiding from you? And the players are always speculating, always wondering what these relationships are. And sometimes I'll have a better sense of that than you do as the GM, especially if you use my method that I've expounded this entire video series, which is create a skeletal kind of, you know, the basic cities, personages, whatever. And then, as I said in an earlier video, I'll put the link up here. The players develop it as the players explore the world so that you don't have to do everything at once. But then in this context, you're taking their ideas, you're taking their speculations, and you're either filling in some details that you hadn't thought of, or you are, you know, expanding upon something based on that idea of something you already had. Or the final thing is, if it's a better idea than what you had written down, you can change that. Now, again, that last one, that's sometimes a bridge too far, as we'll see. But let's just keep on starting from the beginning thing.
So basically what I said. Sick.
Yeah, pretty much.
Glad for it. And also glad that you said if you just change it because it's a better idea, it could be too far.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
interesting that you actually said that, and I would love to see examples, which I assume you're going to give. Fantastic. Good start. 4 minutes, but good start.
Yeah.
I'll just use an example. So I have Zodi, the Tavern Keep standard NPC that I have at the beginning of campaigns. I've created the background and the personality of Zodi independently of the players. They just meet him as this Tavern Keep. They all have a relationship based on their backgrounds, a starting point, his tavern. But I know who he is and his background, how we got to this tavern. But all this stuff's not set in stone. Once the players become involved with Zodi, they can have an effect upon him. So if the players do something with him that, one, I didn't expect, and two, would reasonably, you know, Zodi would interact with this and make a change as to something he was thinking about or was going to do or whatever, I'll have that happen. And I have to adjust the storylines based on what's going on with Zodi. So, for instance, if the players discover this abandoned mine that's caved in, they come back to Zodi and say, hey, we want to, you know, excavate this. We'll go in with you for equipment or, you know, miners or whatever. Again, that's going to change necessarily his behavior. Let's say he was working. I had this whole setup where he wanted to create this fleet of ships and the players weren't interested in that or whatever. And they come up with this new idea. Do I say, okay, he's going to invest in that? First of all, do I just suddenly say he's got enough gold to do both, you know, or he's going to hire someone else? Or does he take that cash and go, okay, instead I'm going to go to this abandoned mine because that's what the players are doing. So I'm changing what Zodi is up to based on the players' activities.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. Absolutely, you can. Hello, Timothy. But, so... I'm of two minds, right? It's not that I would say don't do this. It's more just I feel like we could, I guess for the sake of not having to come up with a totally different character, you could just do this easily if you want to just save yourself the legwork. But I feel like having your NPC change enough to like abandon that original idea is a little strange. At least in my head, because they wanted to do this other thing. And it seemed like it was more in their best interest, at least because that is the decision that they would have come to. And you wouldn't necessarily have them reach the same goal if you change the entire idea like to something entirely different, you know? Now, could you say then that you change their end goal more so to match what they're doing now? Absolutely. Totally fine. It's going to be work either way, you know?
Absolutely.
And I feel like it would be easier to have them just not, I guess, interact with that NPC anymore for this mission, because it's not something that's in his interest. I mean, they could probably, persuade him or whatever, give him gold or something if they need to, if they really want him. But like letting him go about his business and bringing in somebody else that's more tied to something that they would want to do seems like it would make the world a little bit more alive to me, you know? I guess not to say that people changing their minds isn't like something that happens, right? Not to say that at all, but it's just, I don't know. I guess it could also feel less alive because you are just catering to their change here. Well, not necessarily, I suppose. I'm having an argument with myself. Because you could see it in one way as you're just creating something so that they can go on this adventure that they want to do instead of what you've prepared, which is something that we've expounded about doing and being willing to do. So that's like something that I'm fine with. And like creating another person to help them along in this journey would still make it feel alive, because they would have to do the legwork themselves of finding this other person. They would have to go about wherever they are, talk to people, make sure that they know what they need to do, and then get them on board.
Yeah, you have to be careful with how much you do, because if you do too much, it winds up becoming like, oh, we'll just do whatever we want, and the DM will just come up with somebody that, you know.
Well, so in that respect, especially for something that's sandbox, I feel like that's fine.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's fair. I forgot it was a sandbox.
Right. In something that's a more linear adventure, you could still do it a lot for sure. It just depends on how much work you want to do, right? But yeah, if we're coming from the perspective of a sandbox, I think you don't need to involve everything that you've already made, you know? Or you don't need to involve it to the point of it going against the wishes of the NPCs that you've made, right? Because they have their own lives. Let them do their own thing. Fuck it. This whole problem is one of my main struggles with the sandbox D&D game. Fair enough. I guess Zodi might be willing to jump on the new opportunity. You could swing it that way at least. Sure, yeah. Is this video about changing on the fly? No, this is about taking your players' ideas and utilizing them in your game. Which it would still be doing that if I were to, create a whole different person to accompany them and, find the thing. I guess it depends on how big a change it is. Yeah, well, so this is, at the end of the day, this is my preference, right? My preference would be, I want to make a different person if it doesn't line up well enough, or if they don't bribe the guy well enough with charm or money or whatever they want to do, right? Or promises or favors, things like that. Whereas it's perfectly valid and something that anybody can do of like, just make the guy do the other thing. That's fine. Which, again, Not saying don't do it. That just seems like weird work to me, whereas I would like to do the work to make somebody else. Welcome back, Aiden.
Hello.
Hello. Maybe persuade him? Yeah. I mean, you could. Very well so. Very much so. Timothy says hi.
Hello.
And that's the standard practice of collaborative, storytelling that my players expect in my world. They want the NPCs to react in a way that changes things. This isn't a narrative that's just unspooling that I've already set up, a linear narrative. It's not, that's railroading, right? It's not a module where we have to go to this point in this, we got to discover that. No, it's
well, so you can still make it more open in a module.
Yeah.
I will point to, I mean, it's the most open fucking module, but it's the one that I've done. Expedition to Castle Ravenloft.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredibly open. And the new version is even more open now. But like, Curse of Strahd, of course, is what I'm talking about for 5e. They're both incredibly open, and you can tackle things in certain ways. It comes at you with a very linear setup, and then after that, it says go. Right? And you can obviously change things around and do whatever you want to affect that story to tailor to the playstyle of whatever group you're running it for, whatever they want to do. But you can still do that in something that's more linear. Let me think. What's a good linear example for a module?
I'm playing modules.
Acquisitions Incorporated.
Sure. Acquisitions Incorporated. Do you know anything about it that would
help? Yeah, you steal stuff.
Okay.
You basically you work for a thieves guild,
right,
and you get assigned stuff that you need to heist.
Okay. Well, that already seems very open. Like, I assume there is a linear story in there of like you.
Yeah, no, there's like you find this MacGuffin, find this MacGuffin, find this MacGuffin.
And it'll lead you to the final thing.
Yeah.
MacGuffin.
Okay. Yeah.
Come on away, Ho.
I'm sorry, the final MacGuffin. I'm sorry.
There we go.
Which, that seems like you could do in any order, really, if you really want to. Obviously, the book probably has its set order and everything, but you could change that around if you want to. And if they want to go and steal something that isn't necessarily the MacGuffin, you could have them do that. Like, it's just, a lot of these modules can be more open. So, I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way when it's kind of brushed aside a little bit and called more railroady, or at least implied to be more railroady. Yeah. You can have a linear story be not railroady. So,
yeah.
Box campaign. They made that decision, and they're going to change Zodi's actions based on their interactions. And there is a deeper level to this collaborative process, because as the players begin to explore your world, as they, discover ancient secrets or, long abandoned temples or whatever, or they just start interacting with NPCs and they begin to see that there are these levels of, cooperation, rivalry, relationships. They also begin to speculate. They also begin to wonder, why does this person dislike that, or what's going on here? And they start to make connections, and they start to think about things in a way that you as a GM can use. Because these might be connections between two groups that logically would have some interaction, but you just haven't had time to work it out yet. So the players say, well, I think that they probably dislike the fact that they're doing this, and you think to yourself, they probably do. Okay, so they dislike that. And one, that might be a more interesting storyline than something you first of all, you hadn't thought of it, or if you had, you weren't quite sure. But the second thing is the players always get that satisfaction of figuring this out, of going, wait a minute, if they're doing this, and I think they're...
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of stuff where I will be fully honest, I'm kind of a hack. I think of like 2/3 of the way through on an idea, like, oh dude, wouldn't it be cool if there was a dragon with like 4 wings and it fucking was spraying fire and lightning everywhere. And then invariably a player will go, oh fuck, that must be the so and so power in the east, and I'm like, oh, it is now.
Right. Sure.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
Yeah, players can very easily fill in the blanks sometimes.
Yeah.
And I mean, hell, I remember when we were playing Delta Green the first time, and obviously you didn't go with this because you already had a plan, and it was a much more simple plan. But I remember when we were tracking the Dogman, and we were looking at a map of all the previous attacks, I came up with that shape that seemed to be, it looked kind of like a pattern. And I'm like, I wonder if it's going to strike in this area next. And it didn't. But that was a thing that I just came up with.
Yeah, for sure.
And you could have used it.
Could have, for sure.
Should have. No.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, and that's something that's super fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And when they pan out, they feel satisfying for sure. Hell, I'll pull back the veil a little bit. In the current little Delta Green thing that we're doing, I had the idea that in the child's bedroom that you would he would have, a laptop and such, right? Because he's a kid and it's 2023, and of course they have some sort of device.
Sure.
And which I gave him a Chromebook like a dickhead. But I had envisioned that there would be clues in that room and everything to get it so that you could have the password, right? And it wasn't until I thought about where we were, and then you were like, oh, I'm gonna look in this room, that I went, what is in this child's room? Yeah. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh, giant stuff, because we're in New York. Fuck it. Okay. And then, once you started putting the pieces together and you actually did the thing with the laptop, I mean, that you did it, you figured out my little tiny, more improvised puzzle, right? It's less, I guess, less more. Wow.
It's less more, yeah.
It's just less of you giving me an idea and more of you going into a situation that I wasn't fully prepared for. Because, to be fair, haven't done a lot to prepare for what I've run you guys through ever.
Fair enough.
I even in our first Delta Green thing, I only wrote down names and some generalizations, and that was it, right?
Yeah, no, and that's a good way to do it.
Right, exactly. And that's what he was talking about as well before, of have a bit of a skeleton, right? A bare bones thing that you can kind of fill in the blanks. And I'm not the best at improv, but I try, And it seems like the session that we did worked out. Yeah. So, nice pick, Aiden.
Thank you. Isn't it fucking cool?
Isn't it sick as hell? I don't know. I'm just trying to get my participation points for this class. Thanks.
I think my only thing about the profile picture is just the TableTalk logo. I think if it didn't have that, it would be more general purpose. But other than that, it's fucking awesome.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I actually kind of wanted to include it on my Discord photo because the way Discord reduces your profile picture to a circle kind of caused that to get cut out, but I was kind of hoping to find a way to include it, but it wasn't in the cards.
Yeah.
I'll take a sausage egg McGuffin. Thank you.
Nah, goddammit. I'm hungry.
If I started a game, I would tell the players, feel free to give your ideas when we play, and we'll see how it goes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. Just in general, you should be open to change in your games, right? That's just the one moment, Aiden. Oh, Draco Kraken's coming up with a thing. Oh,
no.
Draco Kraken, calm yourself.
It's already happening. You've talked about it. Now it shall become manifested.
Yep.
You don't understand the power of words. But yes, you should be open to anything in games, honestly. It's obviously you have the veto power, but unless it's unreasonable, I don't think that there's any reason that you should not consider something, right?
something going on here. I think let's look closer at these relationships. What could have happened in the past? And you're thinking to yourself, oh, yeah, I'm going to think about that too. So again, back to Zodi the barkeep. I had said that he's a third-level fighter. He fought in these Orcan wars in the past in the Barren Hills. And he made a big score. He discovered a treasure, which enabled him to retire as a soldier and have this bar. And during the wars, he'd met this Valina, half-orc barbarian, and they got married. They run this bar together. And there's a whole secret behind this that I will get to, but this is what the players know in terms of Zodi. And so they go on all these different adventures, and they're getting up in level, and they go to the Barren Hills, and there's this village of Rodenburg that's at the edge of the Barren Hills, and there's this ex-soldier, Crassus, who runs this vineyard. And the players all speculated when they start talking to Crassus, he had fought in the Orcan Wars. That's where he discovered this land where he knew was perfect to grow wine. He makes this incredible wine that's very valuable and whatnot. Players had gone there to help him out. It's again, one of these long stories. But they surmised, hey, this guy must have known Zodi. And so what they did was they made some sort of veiled references to this to see what Crassus's reaction would be with stuff that only Zodi would have told them about the Orcan Wars. Does he know this? Now, when I drew up Crassus, I had some other objectives here. I did say he was an ex-soldier in the war. I hadn't thought about his relationship with Zodi, but it made sense to me that if he was in this war, he would have known Zodi. So it was clear that he knew him.
So, again, good idea. Good utilization of what your players have perceived and everything. Plus, I think the big thing here is what you created matched up with what they were thinking about.
Yes.
That's what I think is the best way to kind of incorporate these ideas. Like, yeah, if they're better in general and they make a lot more sense, you can obviously change everything to kind of fit that. It depends on the work that you want to do, right?
Yeah.
But if they are alluded to, or at least could be easily like written in and everything, that's when you can go, hey, you've made everything better. Thank you. I totally did this beforehand.
Yeah.
Give them that illusion that you are all-knowing. But it just, I think it really depends on how much work you want to do to change something that you've already pre-established if it is different, right? And if the thing works either way, that's when it's like, oh, well, you thought that, but maybe it's not, you know?
The thing was, I didn't know what the relationship was, right? And I'm just doing this on the fly. So a lot of times what I like to do is let the dice make decisions so that I don't show a bias. Because even though the players had given me the idea, hey, would they know each other? It's reasonable. So I roll. And I rolled that he disliked Zodi very much. They had a feud. So I made that clear with the players when he was talking about this. And my players are very savvy. They did not reveal their own relationship with Zodi, who's a good friend of theirs and is a good character. So that tells them something about Crassus, right? They're not going to like him. But I had just done this randomly. I wasn't even sure yet what the feud was about. So then in the course of playing, the players began to discover that Zodi had made some kind of discovery, some secret there, and they felt this from Valina at times and whatnot. This is, again, over the course of running. They also knew that Crassus, there was something going on there, and really what had happened is Crassus had made this discovery of this cave complex. They all knew there was this ancient civilization. He was thinking of using the players, but once it became clear the players were allied with Zodi, he had a beef with Zodi. He wasn't so sure about that. So I changed the storyline there based on that. So the players go and they're like, what's going on? Was Zodi, did he swindle Crassus out of this great discovery because they had served together? Was he jealous that Zodi had made these riches, this treasure? They just didn't know. So then when the players did go back to Dramos and talk to Zodi and decide it was appropriate to talk about Crassus, by this time I had made up my mind about what was the source of the feud, which was Zodi and Crassus and a bunch of other guys had made this discovery of this treasure. Zodi was much more instrumental in getting it. Crassus had said, no, let's leave it alone. And he kind of came in at the last minute. Zodi took more of the treasure. Crassus kind of got the crumbs, enough to start this vineyard, but not the great treasure trove that Zodi had. And he was, jealous. Felt like he'd been cheated. But the thing was, since Zodi didn't want anyone to know where he'd gotten his treasure, because this was a sacred Orcan site, And his wife is part of this Orcan family. So I connected those that she's always wondering about this too. So he's tight-lipped about the treasure so he wouldn't tell them why he and Crassus had fallen out. The treasure has its own history with the history of the world, the ancient civilization, the orcs, where the indigenous population of these humanoids came, which basically is the...
I mean, just watch this. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
It's really good. Like, this is a great utilization of the questions that have been asked from your players, right? It really just boils down to pay attention to your players, dude. Like, roleplay is incredibly fun to watch. It's one of my favorite things to just put the players in a position and then just watch them do stuff, you know, together, or talk to other things and all that. And then you get a lot of good ideas of, you know, everything of like what they're going to do, what's the general feel about the area or the people and all that kind of stuff. And then just add it on top of, if you're unsure about any aspect of what they've interacted with, see how they have reacted so far, and then you can kind of come to an informed decision on to how you want to either play it up to be beneficial to them, or it could be against them, or it could just be neutral to them, you know. It's a good idea. There's nothing more I can say.
Yeah, good ideas lead to good ideas.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
I always fail to create that illusion because I can't resist joking about trying to create that illusion. Well, yeah, fair enough. As everyone should know, whenever I do anything, I have no idea what I'm doing, so it's great.
And I mean, hell, if you've seen the last few sessions of Devils and Dice, I'll give you a spoiler. I haven't statted any of that shit.
That's right.
And these motherfuckers know that.
But it's felt right, honestly.
Yes, that's the thing. It has somehow come out in the wash.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like, honestly, in a more experienced table, making your game like Boo has, where like not as much, like nothing is statted out, and then just like turning to your table and going, what feels right?
Yeah.
It honestly, it allows you as the DM to write way more content because you're not worried about the particulars, because you can let your table worry about that.
That's true.
And sort of like all cooperate in your storytelling.
Yes, for sure.
And honestly, I kind of like it, and if ever I like do stuff for experienced tables, i.e. our one-shots that we will do as part of the table talk thing, I might do that DMing style too, of like, what feels right, guys? What items do you want?
Yeah.
Just as long as it's not an immovable rod, or the shit that Boris has.
To be fair, we've used the removal rod like twice. Really?
I know, but honestly, it's in the back of my mind now. I'm like, shit.
Don't worry, it's in the back of my mind too. That offer goes for my lore as well. Feel free to give feedback and ideas because it's a D&D setting and the sky is the limit.
Yes.
I mean, fair enough. The lore is one of those things that I would just give you feedback on the writing, really, because it's not necessarily anything but that I, have any, because like the vast majority of your world seems like I need to see more of it before I would give more like specific things, right? Of like,
yeah, that's fair.
This is you should have a faction like this, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it would be less so like, here is a faction, and more so in this cyberpunk world, how much damage does receiving a gunshot feel fair to you, Alejo? If I am in a combat with all of you guys, and you get shot, I say, what feels fair, Alejo? D6?
Right, exactly. We're flying on a wing and a prayer. True.
Yeah.
True. I want to have an immovable rod that just flies off into the sky as soon as you activate it because it fixes itself to a single point in space, but the planet keeps moving. Ooh, that's good.
Oh, God.
I like that.
That's very good.
It's just basically it is just a joke gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard that before.
Done. Sent to Aiden. It's not a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm providing feedback right now.
Very cool.
Mm.
True point, but I'm flexible. Yeah, no, I got you for sure.
The player characters, all this stuff going on. But the main thing was he's tight-lipped about what happened with Crassus because he doesn't want anyone to know about the treasure. And here's the thing. Valina, his half-orc wife, is also, she dislikes Crassus too, but not for the reasons, she doesn't know why they're having this feud. She associates it with this secret that's obviously going to be part of, if you've ever been married, part of their marriage, part of whatever. The players, again, key in on all this. What is going on here? And they created this whole thing by saying, do they know each other and whatnot? And they're speculating about this feud. Valina knew that something about this time with Crassus in the Orcan Wars, there's a betrayal, there's something there, something closely held secret that her husband Zodi has. And the secret was he had stolen this great treasure from out from under the orcs, this sacred treasure. And when they had this peace treaty, right, they wanted this treasure back, but no one knew where it was. It was a closely held secret, which was Zodi, Crassus, and some other guys. Some of the other people had died since then. I think
of course.
Crassus and Zodi were the only ones left.
I was about to
As
ask.
the players began to investigate all this, and they started to look into what about Valina's background? What's the story with Valina? Because as things developed, Crassus did not hire them to investigate this secret cave because they were associated with Zodi, and he'd already gotten burned once. But things started happening there where the son of Ragnar, Kurok, the Avenger, had started another whole series of Orcan raids and whatnot, which the players were combating. And he again was deciding we're not going to let these humanoids steal from us again. So they were making attacks on Rodenburg and attacks on the, and I got a whole video series on this. I'll put another link if you're interested. And so the players began to speculate that the issue with Valina and her family and with Ragnar and everything was that she was related to them. That she was, in fact, part of this royal family. And she had this signet ring that I had given her as kind of a flavor text and all this stuff.
Oh, well, there you go.
And they were asking me about this thing, and I could tell they're all speculating that she's part of this royal family. I had not had that idea at all. I had another whole thing with her as one of the generals who has been betrayed by Ragnar. He wasn't this great. He was kind of an evil traditional orc, and he had betrayed him, and that's why she went over to the other side, and all this different stuff. Which, again, people don't just tell you this, right? This didn't just come up. And so this is the sort of the final level of this. When I heard the players having this idea that she's part of this royal family,
Thank you.
that she is, if she finds out about this, something happened with Crassus and Zodi and Ragnar the Destroyer and all this stuff, I thought that's a better idea. So I changed it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it makes everything more personal, right? And it really involves characters that they know and they have relationships with, rather than and they would still know and have relationships with them at the other side. But this one actually involves more feelings being utilized, whereas the general story seems more just oh, this guy's just kind of a dick, and he betrayed them. It's less depth. A lot more simplistic, which good
isn't always bad, but
no.
if you want to go for a more intricate plot, then
Yes.
go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it usually winds up being appreciated a bit more.
Yeah, exactly. It's it probably also catered more to the table because they were speculating this and everything, right? And that seems to be something that they were more interested in. And the general idea might be something that they found less interesting, depending on how it was implemented, I guess.
Yeah.
So I just want to know near the end if he ever told them all of this.
Yeah.
Because that'd be cool. Hey, there you go. I see you changed it.
Yeah.
Sick. This is nice art he's using. Yeah, it's one of those things where when the visuals are good, I don't talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, before, when we were watching that other video, with the things that mismatched and really, like, made me go, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, what are we looking at?
Yeah, exactly. This would match more with your previous statement and everything. Like, that's when I notice it, and that's when I will comment on it, because it's something that doesn't help. But yes, in this one, all of the visuals have been fantastic. So, good. As I've said before, whenever we cover the D&D Homebrew channel, we go, this is good.
Yeah. And that's it.
And that's pretty much it. Like,
we are not very creative. No.
Right, exactly.
Hey guys, so I've been fucking around with I found a free online resource to generate AI images.
Okay.
And I am trying to make a wood golem that like stands.
Doesn't look like a turd. Oh.
Yeah, it's standing like a gorilla.
Oh, okay.
And it looks sort of like the base of a tree, like a big thick tree. And I haven't quite got the standing like a gorilla yet. But I wanted to like use one arm, sort of like the Shrimpy Boys in Left 4 Dead Part 2. What was that game called?
Oh, the Chargers? Yeah.
No, not them.
Oh, the jockeys?
No, not in Left 4 Dead. The developers Back 4 Blood.
Oh,
remember those like guys who had an arm that looked like a shrimp tempura?
Oh yeah, the tall boys.
It was the tall boys.
Tall boys.
Yeah. I want a wood golem standing with like a big standing like a gorilla with a big like shrimp tempura arm in front of it, and he's not standing like it, but like this is already pretty fucking sick because I'm now imagining like it moving around on roots as if its roots were like 8 pairs of legs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fair enough.
Creepy.
That's neat.
And just like that striding through the forest.
Yeah. That's cool. Okay. Hey, Pizza Funk. Also, Alejo, may I add a video to the backlog? It's from Pointy Hat. Why dragons are a problem? Sure.
Ooh.
Yeah, I can put that in the backlog for sure. Graphics can fast, cheap, or good. Can be, I assume. Fast, cheap, or good, but only 2 of those things at once. True.
Yeah, no, I have this website generating sorry, no, you're talking about something else.
We're talking about the video, yeah.
The sister of Kurok, the new guy, Kurok the Destroyer. And she had left them during this battle where this great battle of the something fields, I don't know, it's all in my lore. Instead of that general being betrayed, she had seen Ragnak do this and had gone over to the other side and helped them, the humanoids, defeat them, and was with Zodi, who rescued her in this battle and this whole backstory. But she was part of this royal family and she was this outcast. And if she found out that Zodi had stolen all this thing, you know, the treasure of the orc's most sacred site, that would be a betrayal. Or would it? Would she align herself with her royal family, or would she stick with Zodi because he'd been a good person to her? And again, in this situation, because the players had created this, I rolled, and in fact, she would stay with Zodi. So then what I did was I created...
Oh, yeah, that's something that I wanted to talk about. Using the dice to just give you a quick decision, you know? That's something we've done bunches of times. It's a great tool because you'll I mean, if you're just on the fence about something, you just go, fuck it, D100 or D20 or whatever the fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And then you just
or,
go,
make a
here we go.
perception roll to, spare.
Yeah.
Right, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like...
Or Boris, make a quick perception while I figure out what it is you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you see anything at all.
Right,
Mm.
exactly. So that's definitely something that you should put in your arsenal for quick decisions while you're doing the improv, because then, hey, you've sped up your improv.
Yes.
Oh yeah, nice art, Aiden. There you go.
Thank you.
And thanks.
He made it himself.
That's right. Thanks, Alejo. You're welcome.
All this information based on her being part of this royal family, not just the daughter of some general who was far down the line. So I changed a lot of stuff in my world because I thought that was a really cool idea. So here's the thing. When you do something like this, when you're not just filling in details or giving the players the satisfaction of figuring something out that they really didn't do, you got to be careful. You don't want to do this too often, and you don't want to make it real obvious. In fact, change some critical element there. Change a little bit or whatever. Because if the players see that they can do this, that they can just come up with theories and you go, oh yeah, that's what it is. It's clear that you hadn't thought it through, or it's clear that you're just changing things based on their ideas. They're going to try to do that all the time.
Yeah, see, that was what
Okay.
I was referring to previously.
For sure. Yes. Okay. That is very good advice. Absolutely.
To you, because I've seen it happen. To the point where if I've done this and I can see that they think this is going to happen, I'm not having it happen again. I'm not letting them influence. I'm trying to set things up in advance. I'm trying to make decisions about things so that it's not them. Because if you're running a sandbox like I am, you're running a world they're supposed to explore, you're going to lose that social contract that I'm setting up the world and they're exploring it. And then their activities are going to change the way these people are set up, but they're not going to metagame and create the world.
Right.
Because they'll start to do that. And they'll start to think, is KR here making changes to things, not only letting us do what we want to do, but being like, oh, no, that's no good. You figured that, I'm going to change it this way or something like that.
Okay. So before when I had my reservations, now that I know his perspective, I'm less in my being less willing to accept his change of like Zodi does the thing instead, right? Or I am more willing, I suppose is what I mean, because I know that he's doing it just because it's something that he would find cool and would work best for him and his table, and not just I'm gonna let them do this a bunch, right? Yeah. I didn't really think that he would do that, to be fair, but at the same time, the confirmation makes me feel better about it.
Yeah.
You don't want to have that. But the thing is, the players, they're looking at your world from different eyes. They're looking at what you set up, and they may make these connections or may have these ideas that are really good, that are better than what you thought of. That's the beauty of setting up the skeletal, just basic ideas of your world and then filling it in as the players explore it, and also filling it in based on their ideas. But it's also the cool part of accepting the fact that the players may think of things that you hadn't thought of, may think of really cool ideas and storylines that you couldn't even imagine. And then your thing as a GM is to try to incorporate those in such a way that it's not so obvious to the players. So hopefully that's helpful to you. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to hear your stories about, and I've heard these before in some comments about how player ideas GMs incorporate into their world. Most importantly, keep playing an RPG game, whichever one you choose. Tell somebody else about it.
Yeah.
I think that was a pretty okay photo. Photo, Jesus.
Photo.
Video.
That was a pretty good moving picture.
Oh, motion pictures. They come a long way since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. I'm glad to see that he's been growing, because I remember the last time we covered him, he was nearer to like 2 point something K. And And right now he's at 3.1k for his subscribers. So that's great. Good job, D&D Homebrew channel.
Not jealous.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm saying,
yeah.
like, wouldn't it be nice?
No, I know. I get you. No, I'm glad to see when good content is succeeding.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like I said, every time we cover, fucking, it's good. So, nice.
But, for that Z Bashu video, if you want to grab that,
right.
I believe it's called The Way I DM Now.
Just give me I will go find that.
Yeah, it's a pretty old one.
Okay. This is Bash.
Or like, this is how I DM or something.
D&D how I DM?
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, hold on. Let me get this. Well, it's only 3 minutes. We'll talk
Oh, it's
about
only 3? Okay, great.
Yeah, it's even shorter. That makes it better.
Yeah.
It is a good sign off. Yes. I agree, because just one, it's system agnostic, which is very cool. And two, it's telling you to tell other people about the cool thing that you like, which also cool.
Yeah.
Unless,
as long as it's not 40k, because they will not have the time.
That's true. Actually, that reminds me. I was at work, and I've been moved to a new office and stuff since I've been accepted to being full time and everything now. Oh, by the way, everybody, haha, I have a job, like an actual job now. Yay. Anyway,
now he's not a wage slave.
That's right.
Well, I mean, he's
I am more of a wage slave actually.
Yeah,
because I'm part of the company. But anyway, I know, it's filthy gross. But I was talking with my coworkers who were in that office, and my supervisor was like, "So what is that on your computer screen? What are is that some sort of game or something? Like, is it a video game?" And then it was Warhammer and Warhammer Fantasy stuff.
Oh no!
And I immediately went, okay.
You have asked a bigger question than you know.
You know not for what you not what you asked.
So what happened, thankfully, was that I got an out because my other coworker who was there was like, "Oh, do you collect the minis and stuff?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." And I was able to go more into what I do with miniatures rather than going into what Warhammer is.
Yeah, he escaped.
So I saved them. Is what I'm saying. I was allowed to save them.
Yes.
But yeah.
Nice.
Anyway,
that's always funny when that happens.
Yes. I literally couldn't help myself. I was like, okay, so.
Yeah. Oh, those poor souls.
Oh, yeah. They didn't get any of it, so it's fine.
Yeah, they made it.
They
lived for
now. Let's see. Fabula Ultima, just go ahead and let all the players set up the world. Yeah, I mean, if it works, it works. No reason it can't work if that's what you decide to do. Oh, no, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you've decided it beforehand. But for his thing, he doesn't want that for his game. So I can understand entirely that that's the perspective, right? It was 760 photos per second. True. Oh, 720. Excuse me. Yes. I came in halfway, but it was good. Yeah. Fingers are all over the place tonight. Yeah, fair enough. Hi there. Yes, you heard the hi. I understand. Hello. Okay. This is Zbashu. Everybody knows Zbashu.
Very good.
Does pretty good stuff. I have not watched any Zbashu for a long time.
Same.
I just don't watch.
Actually, that's a lie. I did rewatch Glyph of Warding.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Sorry, it wasn't Glyph of Warding, was Clone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay. I just don't watch D&D content on my own time anymore.
Yeah, it's fair.
Or really any TTRPG content, unless I'm super interested. Anyway, so yeah, animated D&D How I DM. Here we go.
Welcome to Animated DM, brought to you by Elderwood Academy. So, I've been experimenting with a new DM style and I found it works really well. It's based on some techniques described by John Wick in one of his older videos. I think it's down now.
Oh my god, Keanu Reeves?
I know.
He came out of the screen and told you how to fucking DM?
He fucking after he fucking avenged his dog.
That's right.
Spoilers.
It's not that. It's fine.
I know.
I mean, like, let's be
Like, that's
fair. The
obviously
moment
what's
that you
gonna
watch
fucking
that, yeah.
And something I saw in DM tips with Satine Phoenix and Keith Baker. I think freestyling with nothing prepared is fine, but not a good way to run an entire campaign. It's better to prepare just enough so you don't get married to your grand arc, but so one is available if the players choose to engage with it. And then generate everything else with your players on the fly. To reduce workload, pick an established setting which is easily Googleable. Forgotten Realms or even
like
Hogwarts, as long as...
or something.
Right, yeah. Or,
And this is where we start getting pretty interesting, and I really like this. I've never done it, but this is very cool.
Okay.
This is kind of what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
There's lots of wiki articles, it'll do. Don't be intimidated by big detailed settings. Ask your players what elements of the setting they'd like you to know. Tell them that you don't know everything about the setting. This is our version of the setting.
Okay.
Google and read a few wiki articles they'd like you to research. Before the adventure starts, pick a location on the map and read a few wiki articles again. Write down 3 to 5 loosely related plot hooks, basically the main quest or quests. Each hook should be about 4 sentences long. If it's more, you're getting too complicated, keep it simple. When the players arrive for the first session, write down unique questions about their fellow characters. You got into an argument last week with another PC. What was it about? You got drunk with PC X and you both told each other a secret. What was yours? With that,
that's actually something that I've wanted to implement a lot more, something like that. The one that I want to do is give me 2 good encounters and 1 bad encounter. Can be whatever.
That's literally what this is.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Legitimately, that's what I want to do more often, so that it's more personalized, and like when the player comes across their encounter, whatever it may be, they go, "Ooh, this was my thing."
This is mine. Yeah, and so like if you keep going through this, it's literally that.
Oh, okay. If that's the whole thing, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It's a very good idea.
It's a fantastic idea, for sure. It adds that depth, or not depth. Well, it can add depth too, but it can absolutely...
A bit of personalization.
There you go. That's the word. It adds the personalization for the players so that they have their characters who have lived in this world actually feel like they've been alive in this world for a while as well, and they know the world a bit, and they get that little surprise, that little ooh.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, cool. Well, like I said,
I think he might have a slightly different variation on it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
You'll build a history in the group, and you'll start to get a flavor of what each player is hoping for in the adventure.
Oh, the other thing that I wanted to bring up for this specific idea is Vampire does the same kind of thing. When you're creating a coterie, it's called a relationship map. And basically it is one good thing or one positive thing about you with your character that you, or another character, and then one negative thing about you and that other character that you can just have be kind of foundations of. This is just something that you would have be a thing that's memorable, right?
I see.
And it becomes like a triangle or a pentagon or whatever the fuck, however many players you have and everything. There's more to it than that, I think, but that's the basic thing. That way you have this of like, oh, you've been around a long time, and
this is the relationship between you and these other characters that you know.
And that way it helps with the role play and everything too. Like, it's a great idea. Which it doesn't surprise me that it's also in that.
Yeah.
Essentially, you sow a false history. Now, with various alliances and tensions built, drop them into the town you planned for. Set the players loose. Use random NPC trait generators to build NPCs as they talk to them. Keep notes about these conversations and who these NPCs are. If they decide to give up on a town and move somewhere else, let them. Call a 15-minute break. Google the next adventure location. Figure out what plot hooks and characters you can still keep from your previous work.
This is another thing that we've already we've talked about this before too. Of like, just fucking, you can just move shit if you want to.
Move shit if you have to.
Yeah, if you have to, for sure. Yeah. But like, or just let them, and then take the 15 minutes of like, guys, I don't
this is
have
something
everything. Yeah,
I'm unprepared for this. I need to prepare. I apologize.
exactly.
And then they all leave because you're a dog
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, because they hate you. Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
Give the players some background on the next town and ask them what they hope to find and what they fear to find.
There
The
you go.
path. This time, figure out the path to the second location they want to go. Write down 4 bad things that can happen on the path there. Tell the players that they can also submit threats and boons in pairs. The pairs got to make sense in the biome and must be roughly equivalent. Tell them that they're starting out with 4 threats already, so every pair they submit increases their odds of finding something good. Tactical players will be looking for items and fearing monsters, whereas political players will be looking for useful secrets and fearing a loss of face. Read everything to ensure that all of it's on the level, and then, as they move through the path, draw papers from your collection of threats and boons. The threats and boons the players laid out for themselves will give you more than enough time during play to figure out what's waiting for them at the next adventure location. Render the road ahead of them. Keep notes about...
Hell, it might take the entire session. And then
Yeah,
you
I
have
probably would.
plenty of time to figure out what's going on in the next place.
Yeah.
everything
very
that happened
easily
and build your grand arc with the players instead of against them. Also, a good idea with this style is to seed a bunch of mysterious elements that you can use to bring your plot full circle. Players tend to forget loose ends and remember closed circles. Thanks for watching this episode brought to you by Elderwood Academy. Whether it's the hex chest or the spell book, they're making beautifully crafted containers for your dice, cards, and other gaming supplies.
Sure.
Link in the description.
There you go.
And that's it.
Just as
I like it.
usual. It's a
Yeah, no,
good video that is things that I have both now said before and heard.
Yes. That's great that worked out. I didn't even know that you were wanting to do that.
Oh yeah, it's one of those things that's just like ooh, because it's for bigger campaign stuff for sure.
Yes.
That I really want to kind of implement more. That way I totally have all my ideas and everything ready, but like, you know,
obviously.
in case, you know,
Yeah,
just
obviously.
step away from my ideas and go for
all the like the rich lore that you've already written.
yeah, everything that's already up here.
Yeah, it's already been written out fully.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, good Zbashu video. I will remind, of course, that all videos that we cover are in the description in the description of the VOD. So if you want to go and watch the video yourself, or keep it saved or something, it'll be right there for you.
And actually, if anybody is interested, because we're all fucking RPG nerds, he has a very short little campaign diary for a campaign that he ran. It's very good. It's called The Cold Road. Only 4 episodes, unfortunately, but it's still good.
Yeah. Let's see. What did I miss? Hogwarts? Nah, Little Witch Academia. There you go.
Yo,
Yeah.
so good.
100%. I just mean 100% because Hogwarts is kind of boring. The reason I brought up the pointy hat video is because one point was dragons of all types are only built and good for combat and nothing else. It didn't sit well with me. I needed second opinions. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that's
wrong.
completely wrong.
So we'll definitely cover that video at some point now that you've given me something to chew on.
Yeah, because man, you've got copper dragons. That's all you need to say.
Yeah, you can do so much with dragons, regardless of the colors and everything. Like playing to their personalities of what makes them them. For intrigue can definitely happen. Fucking green dragons. Does nobody remember that green dragons exist?
Yeah, right?
What?
That's right. Nobody knows
Who?
what green dragons are. I forgot. Anyway. Vampire. Never played it, but I guess there's Monster High. True. Maybe if Mattel decides to get into TTRPG business. Yeah, maybe. Felcrow University is not a published setting. Fair enough. Okay. Well, we're at a midpoint. So, I'm going to talk about lots of things that you may or may not care about, and then we'll get to the other video that I have prepared. So, hi, everybody. Welcome to the stream. You can give us money for the stream if you want.
Money?
Money.
I would like money.
We like that.
What?
Money now, please.
No. You can give us money.
Why would I give you money?
Well, no. Us. Us money.
Yeah, why would I give you an
I
Aiden
don't-
money?
Oh.
You think I want either you fuckers to have money? No, I want it all.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
mine.
Oh, well, you would be giving it to the royal us. That meaning the show.
Well,
so,
they're royal, so like, why do they need the money?
what? So,
Yeah.
we have.
It's something trickle down.
That's right.
Ah.
That's right. So we have a few ways that you could donate to us. There's a link in the description to donate directly to us through Stream Elements that can show up on the actual show. Which, you know, it is what it is. It's just like a little tip thing, because streamers have those and it's easy to set up. There's also, of course, you can go over and become a table flipper over through Patreon or through Ko-fi, which Ko-fi also allows you to do one-time donations and stuff if you want. And yeah, these are all the people who do that monthly. Who, like, fucking crazy people. It's great. So
Not for them. Good for us, though.
right, exactly. So a big thing.
I don't even have to tell them I have leukemia.
That's right.
They
It's
just
fucking
do it.
weird.
That's
Yeah.
right. So a big thank you to Draco Kraken, Mog Zero, Rick, aka Unit Rico, Slazer, and Steely in that tier 4, giving us those $15 every month. You fucking crazy people. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And then, of course, in tier 2, we have Crimson Rose Armok, aka Lux. Thank you as well for those $5 every month. And, of course, a thank you to our tier 1 contributor. For the $1, you can donate to us for as little as $1 a month and become a table flipper and have all of the benefits, except for the shouting out of your name if you are in tier 1. But you get all the rest. So, link is in the description if you want to go over there, or you can do the same thing over on Ko-fi. It's up to you. Other than that, you can go over to our website, which I still super need to update, and at least the front page, and go over into our support us column. You'll see all the stuff that I've mentioned before, as well as the stuff I will mention, and the dice, the custom dice, you can go and buy for $15 through PayPal. So if you don't want to do that, then you don't want to do that. I still have not made a bank account for us, but I will do that at some point when I have the time. I will try. So 99 of them left. Up to you if you want them or not. You could earn them through Garabingo streams. That is a thing as well.
That is also true.
Yes. So up to you if you want to.
You can earn them through loot boxes.
That's right. Interactive loot boxes. So really, games.
Yes.
Loot boxes that you have a chance of winning.
Exactly. Something physical and real. Anyway. Other than that, of course, you can go over to TeePublic and get our current, our usual current logo on whatever you want through there. It's not the one that's going up over here on this screen with this little thing. I never put that up because honestly, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, I'm not sure about it. But this one is the old classic. It's nice and good. And yeah, get it on whatever you want. Soon, I've got to show these guys once it gets all set. It should be done on the 18th. Soon, there will be some more stuff. So be excited. And other than that, you can go over to Humble Bundle using our link in the description. Excuse me. And anything you buy through our link, anything at all in the store, whether it be a bundle or the Humble Choice or through the store itself, will contribute to us as well as Tabletop Alliance. Link in the description to find out more about their charitable works that they do with tabletop stuff. And right now, I would, of course, highly recommend the Call of Cthulhu bundle, the $25 for 25 things, which is a fucking steal.
Yes.
And I hear Discworld is pretty good, so you can get that, I guess. It's Terry Pratchett and all that. What else? Is there a game bundle that I would recommend? Let's find out. I don't know any of these. Oh, Awesome Games Done Quick has Bloodstained in it. So yeah, go for that.
Ooh, nice.
And Sonic Adventure 2. Ooh.
Yo!
Bayonetta as well, and Celeste, and I don't know that or that, and I wouldn't tell you to get Borderlands 2. So there you go. Not that if you want it, go get it. If you like it, it's fine. I don't care for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that's there. Link in the description. Again, go and get things that you want through that. Or don't. I'm not your dad. So.
He's not.
I'm not. So, let's move along. Okay? Let's continue this energy. So, this next video is... Celeste is good, yes. This next video is brought to us by How to Be a Great GM, Guy himself. Alright. So, this video contains a rant, be warned, apparently.
Uh-oh.
It's interesting.
Sensitive viewers.
Sure. This is the fear of being the GM, how to overcome it. I figured that this kind of works in themes with what we covered before of being the GM and taking the ideas.
Yeah.
This is basically, hey, it's easy, I assume. It's, that he will say, it's easy.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a little bit of anxiousness every now and then. It's cool. Let's do it. You know?
Yeah. You're not going to get dragged over theoretical glass.
That's right.
Metaphorical glass.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, that's what I think it is. It's just like, this will be easy, or easier than you think. Don't worry about it. You can DM or GM or whatever. Let me see. There's another thing. Oh, he talked like dragons had no real depth. It was weird, man. That's very strange.
That's weird.
Dragons have height, width, and depth. True.
Ha!
Metallic dragons were just a passing footnote in that video. What the fuck? Okay.
What the fuck?
That video was probably like, was it 20 minutes or was it 10 minutes? Because if it was 20 minutes, then I'd be like, dude, you had so much time. But if it was 10 minutes, I'd be like, why did you make it so short? I like red dragons because they make me feel represented. Good. Okay. So, here we go with the fear of being the GM. I think this was...
Hello and welcome to this
2 or 3
episode of
years
How to Be
ago.
a Great GM. We're talking about things that make you afraid to GM. It's a complex space, but let me tell you, we mostly all fear the same things. But first, a word from today's sponsor. DungeonFog.com is the ultimate battle map maker. I use it on a weekly basis. I absolutely adore the props, the maps, all of the things that you can make in it. They've got several thousand props, several thousand room options, design options from fantasy to sci-fi to modern day horror to Victoriana. You name it, they've got it. It is all there. Plus, they have a public library that has over 10,000 maps that you can choose and share and use and change up or just use as they are. It's at your fingertips. Use the code GreatGM to get a discount if you want to sign up for a subscription, but please note you can use Dungeon Fog without one. DungeonFog.com, making today's episode possible.
I would love to know what its actual price is and what the capabilities are in the free version, but that's not what an ad is for.
Yeah, it's true.
It's to sell me.
Yes.
I did a poll recently across all of our social media channels. Links for all of those are down below. And I was surprised. I said, what makes you afraid of GMing? The responses were, well, phenomenal. We had over 500 people writing in paragraphs of what made them afraid to GM initially or prevent them from GMing now, or they still face whilst GMing. It was touching to see just how many people had so many fears and phobias that we all seem to have in common. So I've broken them down into several categories, and we're going to go through those categories because I think a lot of the time, just a cold, hard dash of truth will help you take away some of your fear. Now, before I even start, I have been running shows for years. I've run them on the biggest platforms and on the tiniest platforms. I still have the majority of these fears. I don't think you would ever want to get rid of these fears. Why? Because they keep you frosty.
Do you guys still feel that anxiousness and shit?
No.
No.
Oh. All right. No, yeah, me either. Right. Yeah. I don't...
Only a loser would fucking feel that.
Yeah.
Only somebody that I would possibly describe as, you know how we've got short kings, we've got
right, yeah.
princes, we've got diminutive dukes.
That's right.
Only somebody that I would describe as a biddy baron.
Oh.
That was a new one I came up with.
That's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is lower than a goddamn baron, so
fair enough. Well, okay. Good for you. Good for you both. Fuck you. I
think it's mostly because I know you guys, so
that's fair.
yeah.
I am generally anxious all the time about everything. To be fair. But especially with running especially with running something that I want to be entertaining, for sure.
Yes.
Like the podcast too. There's many things that I want to just be good enough and cool and just have a good time, and I know that's not necessarily entirely within my control, and I can rationalize it to all hell, but I still, at the end of the day, like right before I start things, get this pit in my stomach or in my chest that I'm like, ooh, but everything might go fucking terribly, and everything, ooh. But it's one of those things that thankfully once I get into it and once I keep like go through and start actually playing, then I'm like, oh no, this is fine, you know? Yeah. And afterwards I feel satisfied and everything.
It's kind of like going to the dentist. It's always a little bit, or the doctor.
Yeah.
It's always a little bit nerve-wracking once you go to the doctor, but then, once you actually get into it, you realize, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's one of those things that I feel like a lot of I know that at least a few people that I know or I have known have had for sure. Maybe they don't anymore, I don't know, but like it's something that does little to help me. You know?
Being in the same sinking ship doesn't really help because we're all still sinking. You know?
Yeah, no, it's less that. It's more just this idea of embracing it and it'll make you do things better. You know, like it's less me going, I gotta make sure, because it doesn't really influence my decisions beforehand because I'm writing it all down or I'm thinking about it all beforehand and keeping it in my head. It's literally just before. You know, so it's not something that motivates me. It is just something that will hamper me for a second or two, you know? Yeah. But I can understand taking it and making it do better, but I also think that could be detrimental if it's, if it is the case, because you might over-prepare and overtax yourself, right? Yes. But you know yourself better than I do, like whatever, if it's really good for you, then great. Good for you.
All right, guys. Since Draco Kraken did the heavy lifting, I was able to get a final copy of what I think will be my profile picture moving forward.
Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I see it. It's got actual like the V and everything now.
Yeah, it's got like I took inspiration from the popped collar.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And made him also have like the lapels sticking out.
Yeah. Nice, like a rank there as well.
Or and then I looked up how many stripes a captain gets, and they get 4.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, there you go. That's
looks good.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's very good.
Thank you again, Draco.
Yeah, for sure. That's so sick. Let's see. 20 to 30 minutes for that dragon video? Really? That's so much time.
What the fuck?
That's so much time to Okay. So we're definitely covering that.
Yeah.
Frosty, woo! Yes. My biggest fear is that I'll stay awake until 7 a.m. designing things, which is, of course, exactly what happens. That's
Yep.
fair.
My worst fear is the fact that I have to. I'm never fucking mentally there enough to write, and then when I am, I have to fucking go until like 9 a.m.
Right, yeah. I get you, for sure.
It's such a fucking pain.
Yeah. It is my dream that one day the show will have a bunch of live viewers, so I as a trusted mod, can convince them all collectively to say muted, just to troll Greydon. Pizza Funk, I swear to God. I swear.
That would be great.
You don't
I
know.
would love it.
Good bit.
That would fuck me up, dude.
Yeah, we get rated by our own chat. Fucking good.
I would be so upset. Holy shit. As the one who literally has to do everything on the back end, you don't know how much stress you would cause me. Or you do, and that's why you want to do it.
Yep.
Dickhead.
Very good.
What's the worst that could possibly happen?
You'll have my and Aiden's full support.
Oh, good. 2 out of 3. That means it's gonna happen. Awesome.
Yep. I'm not gonna lift a finger to make it happen, but
Oh,
I
of
will
course.
laugh if it does.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'll stand by the sidelines.
It's gonna be like the fucking last session with you handing popcorn to the.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I had totally forgotten to put that up last week. So this week, get excited. There's a new Devils and Dice coming.
It's the second to last session, possibly.
Possibly. Yes. Anyway, what's the worst that could possibly happen? Lavos cry echoes across the world. True.
Yeah.
All right.
Now make sure that you do your best each time rather than just getting lazy and not trying to improve upon yourself. So I do think having a little fear is useful. The first cluster, or first clump, I should say, of fears that came through were mainly revolving around our friends. Here were the main fears. Performing in front of my friends. I'm worried that I'm going to get ridiculed if I put on a strange voice or do an action or a whoosh wah bing. Fear of performing in front of friends was a big one. A lot of people were like, well, I want to try accents, but I'm worried that my friends are going to laugh at me and they're going to ridicule me. If that is your friendship group, if they are laughing and they are ridiculing you because you are trying to do something different, get a new group of friends. I cannot emphasize this enough. I spent years being abused by players who were using me as a form of entertainment. And whenever I tried to step out of my comfort zone, whenever I tried to do something different, they would either tell me no, or that they didn't like it, or that I should stop doing it because I looked stupid. I wasted my role-playing life on those people who are now no longer.
I'm unironically sorry to hear you dealt with that, man.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That really
That-
That's awful.
I'm happy to hear that you no longer have to deal with that.
Yeah. I can understand why he's like, sensitive viewers. Because, that's a strong feeling to present. And it should be presented strongly, very strongly.
For sure. That's
like your
worst.
table should react to you moving out of your comfort zone with like a support and saying, hey, next time I think this would also be really cool.
Yeah, it's mutual respect. Just having somebody who's willing to run a game for you. I mean, that's already so much that is like cool of them to do. Why would you also then ridicule them? That's fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that's fucked.
I couldn't imagine it. And like what we do lighthearted jabs, right? Like that's
Yes.
we do that to each other all the time, but that's because we know each other, and at this point, it's weird to not.
Yeah.
But like, genuinely, like finding somebody else and saying that they're fucking awful or whatever, doing this shit and they shouldn't be, just because they're trying to make it more entertaining for you. Fuck off, man.
Yeah.
Ugh. I thought calling Alejo Papa was the raid. True.
Yeah.
There you go. Guy, remember accents are racist? True, that's right. Never forget. That's right.
What a shame.
50 people saying father at once would be another kind of scary. True.
Mm.
I'm glad Guy is in a better friend group. Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. It's definitely the case, for sure.
In my space because I learned to take a step and say, you know what? If my friends are judging me for trying to have fun, they're not my friends.
Okay, so I know that we did the whole like muted bit before, and that was a funny little bit. But I actually can no longer hear Guy.
Oh, well, that's on your end.
Yeah, let me try refreshing the page. I can hear you guys. I can hear Spotify.
Get rid of them.
My tab's not muted.
Strange.
If my friends are judging me for trying to...
You hear that?
Now I do.
Okay, cool. Don't know then.
to have fun, they're not my friends. Get rid of them. Find new ones. I guarantee you will have a happier playing experience. That's the cold, hard truth of all of the friendship-related things, by the way, is if they are not supporting you, they are not friends, they are using you as a form of entertainment. Move on. Life is too short to not. Okay, sorry. I get really upset when we as GMs, as people who are trying to do the right thing, have this rubbish poured out onto us by our players who are expecting us to give them this amazing experience, to just give them everything that all of the other professional GMs out there are doing, beautiful maps and miniatures and touchscreen and lighting, all of that kind of rubbish. I get so frustrated. Well, what are the players doing for you? Are they arriving with beautiful characters that they've had drawn out, plus an array of touchscreen stuff for you to use? Do they have their own miniatures printed? Some of them might, and those are the good ones. But the ones that arrive and expect you to...
now we're...
Well, again, this is just a rant. So.
Yeah, I know, but even so, you're still recording it and putting it in your video.
It's true.
So I for the first sentiment, I agree of like, well, the first thing was that you like that made me go, huh, is the trying to do the right thing. That was a weird phrasing.
I don't really know where he's getting that.
That's a weird phrasing because we're just trying to have fun.
Yeah, we're just playing the game and running it.
Yeah, so that's but this now of like those ones are the good ones who bring all the things in. It's like I don't think we should be putting that forward.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just say that they're showing up and being respectful. That's as far as I would go for my bare minimum, I guess. Or at least communicating enough that, you know, I can understand when they're not showing up. But like, who?
Yeah.
So I don't know, Guy. I get that you do your rant thing, but that's the problem sometimes.
Yeah.
Provide all of that sort of stuff. They are users and abusers, and either they should be paying you for the privilege or you should be playing with somebody else. Okay, I've said it enough times. I'm going to move on. All right, so the next thing. Disappointing my friends.
There we go.
Being a bad GM. There is no such thing as a bad GM. There is a GM who doesn't understand the fundamentals of
there
being
definitely
a GM.
can be.
But that doesn't mean...
Sorry, wait. There's a what was this thing?
Bad GM. There is a GM who doesn't understand the fundamentals of being a GM. But...
No, there can absolutely be bad GMs.
That is
a bad GM though, like definitionally.
Yeah.
So, or by definition, I guess. I don't think definitionally was a word.
Yeah, fuck it, make it a word.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, obviously there are the stories that you can find of people that are
Crit crap.
Well, yeah, exactly. But like, yeah, just in general, some people are just shitty.
Yeah, that's the thing.
There's multiple layers here that you could go to point for examples, but Okay.
Oh, by the way, Alejo, you want to know what's fucked up?
Mm,
You know how they released Warhammer: The Old World?
yes.
It doesn't support Lizardmen, Skaven, or
What?
somebody else. There was someone else that was really important that they don't support.
Okay.
You don't have Skaven in the Old
Yeah,
World, my guy,
especially
or
them.
Lizardmen.
Okay. To be
It's
fair,
fucked.
there is a time where they don't exist. There is,
sure.
like in the lore. But why they would, well, it's to make money. But why they would choose that as the setting, I don't understand.
Yeah, it's
But
very
okay,
strange.
fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Guess I'm not. I'll get my Tomb Kings, but not play Old World.
Yeah, right? Fucking.
Okay.
Ugh.
Let's see. I think he needed someone to vent to, I guess.
Probably.
He just needs to talk things out, I think. Maybe not for a video, but go off, I guess. Well, so I get, because he started with the first part that I was like, damn, that sucks. I understand. You know, he has that pain there, which he can use to put the message forth of, you know, get better friends if your friends are treating you like shit. That I agree with. But then it started to spill into some stuff that just doesn't apply. And I'm just like, okay.
That doesn't mean that they are a bad GM, unless you are purposefully trying to kill your players' characters and you're trying to be this amazing person and prove that you are better than your fellow players. That's
there
a
you go.
bad GM. But a GM who is trying, who is creating adventures, who's really putting in the effort, there is no such thing as a bad GM. So disappointing your friends that they're hoping for this amazing experience that someone who has had zero experience in doing, that's like going to a chef who has never cooked something before and saying, well, I expect you to make me a Michelin meal. It's insane. It's insanity. Your friends should not expect that. The way to dissolve this fear, by the way, is simply to say, you know what, guys, this is my first time, so be gentle. And I want feedback. If you are actively engaging your players for feedback and they're not giving you feedback, but they tell you that they're a bad GM, guess what? They're the bad ones. Not you. You are fine. Get rid of them. Move on. And I don't want to hear, by the way, the excuse of, oh, I don't have anyone in my town to play with. We have learned over the last 2 years that there is an entire planet's worth of people to play with. Get online and play.
Play with the North Koreans who don't have internet.
So the actual points I've been agreeing with, so that's why I haven't been saying anything about them really. The actual points for the actual fears. This one is a little harder, depending on if you have the means.
Yes.
Right. So it's a little bit more I guess to be no, because that it would require more of an actual PC connection and a stable internet connection for sure. Rather than, because everybody has a phone, but I don't think that it can be done necessarily on the phone easily or in a way that's going to make it so that you would want to do that over and over.
Just get on a conference call. What?
I was about to say, you could do a conference call if you want, I suppose.
Be fucking hilarious.
But I don't know. Yeah, I just think this one's a little bit more of like a take it with a grain of salt. I don't know about this entirely.
Yeah.
Do not let your friends control your creativity. That's insanity. Absolutely insane. And I know for younger people, your friends are everything that you need to deal with. I'm taking a break. Okay, so some of the fears and phobias about people with regards to their friends.
It's because he finally realized that he was going too hard into the rant.
Yeah.
Which, good.
It's very abrupt.
Good.
Is that they are worried about not letting their friends choose where they want to go, but kind of forcing them where to go because of reasons. That is a definite fear. You don't want to force your player characters on where to go. And that's why on this channel, moving forward, all of the videos subsequent to a few videos ago, actually, we now talk about focusing on the NPC AI and on the constraints of our game, and we focus our role-playing perspective from that rather than from the perspective of planning adventures. So we're going to move, mentally we're moving away from going, okay, I have planned out the entire adventure, and we're going to move into a space where it is actually the NPCs are going to tell me what is happening in that space, as well as the PCs. So we're going to move.
Okay. That's a better mindset, I think. If we want to promote more of the, you can have structure, but you don't necessarily have to have it be a rigid structure, right? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
The burden of that. And you're going to see we've got a couple other phobias and fears that prey on that as well. Keeping the players engaged. Keeping my players engaged. My players aren't engaged. What do? I have been in many sessions where the GM is not engaging the players. This is a social skill that you have to learn. If you can see that your players are no longer engaged, if they're no longer interested, there is nothing wrong with saying, guys, let's take a 5-minute break. I need to reassess. During that break, quietly chat to them and say, how do they feel the game is going? What are the things doing? How are things working out for them? And listen to their feedback. If they say, well, it's fine, but I really wish we had more combat, then when you come back from that break, you slam straight into a combat. Throw something in there. Figure out very, very quick.
I don't know about doing it straight off, but like
No,
incorporating
just as
it
soon as you can.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Quickly, how something could attack them. Maybe it's the building that they're in starts collapsing because of a nationwide earthquake. It has nothing to do with the
That's not
adventure,
combat.
but something is going to cause them to go into a combat-like
So you
situation.
can run it kind of like a combat.
Yeah, you could run it like a combat, but that's not what they asked for.
No.
Up, I guarantee you won't lose their concentration beyond that. And if it's one person who's losing concentration, that's on them, it's not on you. That's the other important thing. And then another fear is that there is this player versus GM kind of thing that comes up, and that has to be dealt with in terms of, well, the GM is beating the players. There are a lot of reasons why this can happen. It can be very, very tricky. I did a video a couple of weeks ago, as a matter of fact, on how to avoid that space from being there. And that's by cheering your players on during combat. When they're rolling high numbers, you should be going, yes, well done, fantastic. And when your monster rolls a number and it's a high number, you're going, oh my goodness, guys, this beast, this horrendous monster, it swings its club and it hits.
To be fair, this is directed towards both veterans and new players, so it might be fine for just bringing it up anyway, because somebody might not know.
Yes.
This value, or it hits your armor class, or it just hits you if you know the values. You are on the player's side. That will prevent you from going down that path of GM versus player.
Well, the easiest way that I do it is I say, well, I don't want to kill you, but the monsters do, or whatever you're encountering does. And that's the easiest way that I can distinguish that I want them to succeed, but the others do not. Like, it's just, I don't know.
I think that's enough from me for this week on ranting and raving. If you want me to dive into the other fears and phobias that we all have, leave a comment down below. It gets me hot under the collar, as you can see. And it's just because I'm so passionate about us being GMs. You should be in a place that you are having fun. You shouldn't have these fears being crippling, stopping you from playing. Step forward. Don't step up. Step forward and say, I want to have fun. I'm going to GM for whatever reason. And you know what? My fears, I'm going to try and face them. I'm going to try and look at them, not overcome them. You are going to have them in perpetuity.
Sorry, what's your title? The fear of being the GM, how to overcome it?
Yeah.
But it is a case of saying, I'm going to look at those fears and I'm going to see the strength that each one offers me. Improving myself, making sure I've got the right friends that support me rather than that use me. All of those kinds of positives can come out of your fear and phobia. At least that's my idea. Your task then is to identify what is your fear about being a GM, whether you are about to start or whether you have been GMing for 30 years. What is your fear? And then, if you would, do me the favor of just writing down below, this is my fear, and this is the positive that I can find in that fear that I'm going to take home. Write it down in the comments. Let's support each other this time around. Really dive in and say, this is it. You're not alone. We're all in the same boat, and this is the positive I'm taking out of it. That's it. All right, I hope you liked this video, or at least I hope this video gave you something to think about. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button to show some love, and until next time, my name is Guy, and I wish you the very happiest of gaming.
Thanks.
Aside from the ranting, it's not that bad.
It's not like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't play with toxic players,
Yep.
and
everybody has these fears, but they shouldn't cripple you from playing,
yeah,
I guess.
don't let it stop you from playing.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I agree, right? As I guess an aside that I could add is, or no, an example that I could add of something you could do is, if you're not feeling so confident about running something, maybe it's the fact that you need to create a bunch of scenarios and all that kind of stuff, right? Module, go for a module
Yes.
first. It's a lot easier to look at the page, see what's going on, read what's happening, so you have the idea in your head of how the story is going to basically progress. And plus, if you have that railroady kind of fear, then it's like, well, this is kind of like meant to be ish.
Yeah.
Not to the same extent of you guys have to do it exactly like this, but it is going to be something that can ease you into the idea of, well, you can have it be linear but not be a railroad.
Yeah, and it's also important to, I would say, if you are going to run a module, you tell your players up front, we're running a module.
Yes, absolutely.
So that way they know what they're in for.
Yeah, 100%. And another thing you could do is co-DM. That way you don't have all of the burden on you. And that way you can kind of rely on somebody else. Now, could that also create the other person's better than me kind of fear? Yes,
Certainly.
absolutely. 100%. Anything could happen. But it's another thing that you could kind of have as more of a partnership rather than a competition.
Yeah, you will only get those feelings arising out of a sense of like insecurity in your own skills.
Exactly.
You will be fine. The co-DM is there to act. You are there to act as safety nets for each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the other person goes, maybe not this.
Right.
Or let's tweak it.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't be afraid to like sort of step out and change things up.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that I would say is feedback is hard to get.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't rely on your players to give you a lot of feedback. If they do, that's fantastic. I'm happy for you. God damn it. But like, I wouldn't expect that you would get more than just, oh, it was fine.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I liked it. Oh, I had a good time. You know? If
I'm lucky, I have players that will be like, yo, this was a great session. And they actually tell me what the fuck they liked about it.
That's true.
And why it was better than another person's session or something.
That's right. Yes, that's right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yes.
That's even on fucking video.
Yeah, that's on video. It's disgusting.
Yeah, if you really want that kind of feedback, you have to follow up with the players.
Yes.
You like right after the session is probably the least helpful time.
Yeah.
Let them ruminate on it for a day or two at least, and then you go, so what'd you think about it, and if you still get
what you mean by that?
Yeah, What did you mean?
When you said that was fine.
Time, but like,
But what do you
mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you still get the, I don't know, I guess it was just fun. Then, I mean, that's what you get, you know?
Yeah.
You've been doing it well enough that they're enjoying it, you know?
Yes.
You can take that as face value.
As long as they're not lying.
Well, let's not plant that seed, but if
Yeah.
they are, then ditch them.
Friends are well known for trying to set you up for failure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Obviously.
Obviously.
Because,
There
they gotta
is
make you fail so they can succeed.
That's
There
right.
is no one who profits more than your players sitting there bored, all to make you look like a fool.
Yes. No one preys on your downfall more than your friends.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hu-
That's right.
Human beings do that. They slog through what they hate just so that they can make you look like a fool. A dang
Yes.
fool.
A dang fool.
Yes.
Exactly. But yeah, that's more of the stuff that I would add. I can't think of anything else really because the rest of it was pretty much covered.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's see. Okay, my rant time. Guy, trust me, the just find a group online argument is so rough. Internet quality varies highly, and on top of that, just connecting with strangers is hard. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I was immediately like,
Yeah, I mean, if people are already afraid to play with their friends, what makes you think they're going to want to just jump in with random strangers?
very good point. Very good point. I want a D&D solo sandbox sim, but they don't make that. They might. I don't know.
There are solitary adventures.
Yes, exactly. So you might be able to do something like that. I think
It'd be hard to do it in a sandbox, but yeah, you
Yes.
can do it.
It resembles more of like a choose your own adventure kind of type thing.
Yes, exactly.
But there are solo things.
Mm-hmm.
At least don't argue with them about why there doesn't really need to be combat. True. Yes.
Yes.
You can always try running a game for your imaginary friends. True.
True. You know, and hilariously, this is going to sound really weird, but I remember a long time ago when there was an app, I think it still exists, called Replica.
Oh, yeah.
And Brogan decided to try to run a D&D game for a Replica AI.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was actually able to follow along. But the thing is, ChatGPT probably is way better than that. So
Probably.
if you ever wanted to run a quick little thing, you could try doing it through ChatGPT and be like, hey, I'm going to run you through this scenario. Could you please point out any glaring narrative flaws or anything like that?
Yeah, it might work.
It might work.
It might, but I would take that with
again.
Yeah,
it's worth
take
a
that
shot
with
if that's a big stumbling block for you.
Yeah. Take
I
it with a grain of salt, I would say.
know how good ChatGPT would be at that. It doesn't really excel at that, but it would be good at if you give it a plot, then saying what are the plot holes.
Yeah, that's pretty much that.
Yeah. Video gets a B+ to an A-. Sure. It's a passing grade. I'll give you that much. I didn't really feel strongly about it one way or the other.
It's mostly just the rant that turns
just go get more friends.
That's kind of hard nowadays.
Yeah.
It's hard for some people, it's not as hard for others, and that's always been the case. So,
Also, at least in my experiences with game stores, they still haven't picked up to where they were pre-COVID.
Oh no.
No, probably not. I joke, but I actually pretty much have done that with the imaginary friends, though it was a lot like writing an MST3K episode. Yeah, fair enough.
Nice.
Okay. Well, that was that. And that was the videos for tonight, everybody. We did it. Woo!
Yeah. Alright.
It is the customary time for me now to tell you both that if you would like to depart at this moment,
Yes.
you can.
I will be, because I am hungry and I'm gonna go get some
Alright.
food.
Fair enough.
So,
Then
good podcast.
Stick around.
thank you.
Alejo,
Yes.
as a quick reminder, we don't have a session tomorrow, correct?
Because
Because last I heard, this Sunday, tomorrow is not feasible.
oh, yeah, that's right. I completely forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Tomorrow, would you like to play a game after I get off work at 7, or no?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, would you like to watch a movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Well, my mom is gonna come by and help me get a bunch of like the wood from my deck that I tore up to go into the garbage around 1. But after that, I am totally down to watch a movie, Aiden.
Okay.
And then later on, Boo, we can do a game for a while. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting up a half hour later than I used to because now I work 8 to 4.
Nice.
So I get up at
Congrats.
6 a.m. instead of 5:30.
Nice. Hey, I mean, it's an improvement.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much it would be.
It would be a lot.
Yes. Yeah, I think I can definitely do both for sure.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Well, if you I get off work at 7, like I said, so we'll see then.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and dip. So
Yeah.
see ya.
See ya.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
By the way, before we get into ads, I just want to make
I
like
was gonna
a
say
quick
comments,
like.
but yes.
Sorry.
I was gonna do comments, but yeah.
Before we do shilling in comments,
Yes.
I just wanted to make like a quick like PSA almost.
What's up?
So I made a bot account, like basically just another Discord account, and then friended it. And then just started sending it shit just if I need like storage for something.
Sure.
But it's like gotten kind of long and kind of unwieldy. So last night I made just a server, and just I will be the only person who is ever on the server.
Sure.
And it's like really fucking nice.
Yeah, man. I have one like that actually. That used to be for when I did my streaming a lot more solo and stuff. And I just use it on occasion if I need to put something down that I need to reference or remember, and it's pretty good. Yeah.
I have a chat for like stuff I remember, a chat for like screenshots of either on my PC or phone, a chat where I've set up a bot and I can have it remind me of something.
Yeah, there you go. Hell yeah. Nice. Let's see. So, we're gonna move on to comments. We have quite a few long ones tonight. So get ready, everybody. More like writing DM of the Rings, but that's a more obscure reference. Fair enough. The rant brings it down a lot. It's just that this is the most I agreed with Guy. Oh, fair enough. That's fine. Yeah, no, I think it's just it's fine as a video. It's just there's a few things in there that I go, eh. I should make a server for myself and all my brain friends. You should. Yeah, go for it. Okay. So, comments. Here we go. This one comes from Timothy on last week's episode, the Do We Need Balance. It says, and let me actually get a drink of water before I begin my reading. Okay. Hello, bros. Hello. Hope all is well. This lore might be a big one. Hopefully, I can do my mind justice with words. The Log of Alabaster, Entry 2. We have made it to a small town in the fallen Crackle Kingdom. The whole place was in pieces. It looked more like a worn-down army camp than a town. There were a few guards at the front gate, but they really didn't care to check us upon entering. All I had to do was say the IMO sent me on a job, and they let us right in. No checking papers or ID, no nothing. It really showed me how much the demon war took a toll on this land. As we went down the road, there were the bodies of both demons and knights alike. Still being cleaned up. We passed a group of people toasting drinks to my brother Cyrus. Glory to Sir Cyrus, our mighty hero, over and over. It took all I had not to vomit. And then Galvin said, "That Cyrus guy is your brother, right?" Yes, I said back. "Do you think he's still here?" Galvin said. "Most likely not," I said. He should be back in Moorworth by now." "Oh, I feel I hit a sore spot." It's not as big of a sore spot these days. I just shudder at the thought of his head getting bigger. He was always after glory such as that. It's what he lives for. But one day, that mindset will be his downfall. A star ruby. My father told me a story as a child to teach to be humble. Cyrus reminds me of the character that learns the lesson in the story. Leroy. Sadly, lessons are not learned so easy in real life. We soon came across a person laying in the road, so we stopped as to not run them over. Leroy. "Hey, stranger, may I ask you to please leave the road?" They said nothing. Star Ruby. "We could just run him over, boss." Leroy. No need. Give me some time to check things out. I'm going for a closer look." "Be careful, boss." I walked over to the person slowly, standing next to him. I noticed he was wearing a faded and torn jester's outfit. He was holding a soft doll tightly in one hand. His skin was pale and sickly looking. This told me he was some kind of undead. His eyes were open, showing pitch black eyes, and his mouth was moving with no words leaving his lips. His hair was a total mess. He had what looked like he had what looked like cartwheel marks on his chest, meaning people have indeed ran him over. I waved my hand in front of his face. No reaction. This seemed like some kind of curse. There was one way I knew to get a reaction. I put my hand out, creating a flame in the palm, and started moving around slowly, chanting a counterspell. The person's body started to twitch, and he grumbled a bit. Leroy. "What is your name?" "Massimo," he said, in a hoarse voice, still gazing forward. So what's wrong with him?" Leroy. "He is under a curse. I'm doing my best to dispel it. From what I see, it's rooted pretty deep. Star Ruby, help me get him into the cart." When we picked him up, his skin was hot, which was not what undead felt like. It most likely was a side effect of the curse. Now in the cart, going down the road again, I went through my bag looking for something stronger to lift the curse. I mixed up a slapdash potion, using some herbs and more spell work. Opening Massimo's mouth to slip the cure in, I saw fangs. Leroy. "You're a vampire." Galvin. He's not going to drink my blood when he wakes up, right?" "Don't be stupid. Vampires have more self-control than that." "My bad. I never saw one this close up before." After drinking the potion, the curse seemed to be going away. It wasn't that strong of a curse, but the effects are the sign of prolonged exposure or many doses of a weak one. And seeing as he is a vampire, someone would have to pump him full of large amounts of this. For a vampire to be this messed up, a human would have died already. Massimo then sat up and quickly checked to make sure he still had the doll. "Where am I?" Leroy. "On my cart going north. My name is Leroy Alabaster. My party and I found you unable to move in the road." Massimo. "Oh yes, I do believe I took too much at once this time." "Too much of what?" "Fire venom." Just then, everything made sense to me. Galvin. "What the hell is fire venom?" Leroy. "It's a type of cursed potion. Some use it as a drug. It was first invented as a torture method by the fire genies. Oh, crap. It works slower or faster depending on what who's ingesting it. For humans, about 2 cups worth can bring one close to death. For vampires, it's about 10 times that. But since vampires are undead, taking too much just makes them comatose. Massimo would have been stuck there frozen if nobody helped. Star Ruby. What is that stuff made from? Leroy. 1 handful of nightshade powder, mixed with crushed lava crystals, and a large bowl of hydra blood, along with a curse to both bring on more pain as well as induce cravings for it. Galvin. That's horrible. Why the cravings? Leroy. It's so the people they are doing it to come begging for more torture. People who escaped from the fire genies told others about it, and sadly started asking potion sellers to make it for them. So it soon started flowing into the underground market.
Potion seller.
I want your strongest potion. I saw a few bottles of it pass through my old trading house from time to time. Massimo. You really know your stuff. Also, thanks for helping me. It was a week since I had some fire venom, and I went a little crazy. Leroy. No need to thank me. You seemed interesting, and we didn't want to run you over like others did. If you don't mind, can I ask you a few questions? Massimo, go right ahead. Are you a jester? I was, before this kingdom fell, a jester of the Crackle Kingdom Royal Court for 50 years. For 50 years I used to sing to help the younger children sleep, among other ways to bring joy. But my happiness came to an end when the royal family became the dinner of a bunch of vile demons. Tears streaming down Massimo's face as he spoke. Streamed, I assume. Massimo, I took low-paying jobs singing, dancing, and doing tricks since then. Some only give fire venom as payment. I didn't really mind it as it helped numb the pain from the day my life as I knew it ended. Leroy. Well, you're more than welcome to travel with us if you wish. Maybe you can show us your skills. Upon hearing this, Massimo smiled. Whew, that's all I got. Told you it would be long. More on the way. Have a nice day. Thank you.
I like that one.
Yeah, I liked it too. I liked the implementation of a drug, even.
Yes.
It's always interesting to see how drugs are and their effects and how they are, or how they came to be in the world as well.
Yeah, also their implication economically.
Yes, absolutely.
With that, I've got to reset my computer, so I might as well head out for the evening.
Sounds good.
Have a good one, everyone.
Yeah, goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right. Let's see. I just realized Knocked Him Out got censored. Really? Why it gets through by itself, I don't know. I think YouTube just hates you, Lux. I'm sorry. Finish the videos fast tonight. Yeah, it's true. They were mostly just videos that were pretty agreeable, and it makes me upset because I didn't have more to say. And I usually want to say more about the videos, but they were, the first one was really good. The second one was passable, and we gave our reasoning, so I suppose, I did my best to paint a picture with this one. Yeah, Timothy, no, it was good. Good job. I liked it. Anyway, so this is on our Cassette Beast stream that we did, the first one. Unit Rico says, hell yeah, Cassette Beasts. Easily one of my favorite games that came out recently. It has so many great ideas for the genre, like type advantages giving status effects instead of more damage. Won't give any spoilers as most mechanics are explained pretty well, but I would recommend always having a full team, if only to grind out new stickers. Alright, cool. And, follow up. Oh, the hearts on the cassettes aren't anything special, they're just favorites with their own tab in the tape storages, so you can easily find them. The starter and partner signature ones are hearted automatically, but you can switch them all around at will. As for the type buffs, etc., if I'm not mistaken, the Ranger Journal contains a full type chart. Pretty sure that that one wonderful 7 wonder you guys didn't recognize is the Lighthouse of Alexandria, by the way. Thank you. Okay. I'll let Boo know about this when we play it again. But, yeah. Cool. Glad you like it. The idea for Fire Venom is something I could not pass up. Hey, it's a good idea. I like it a lot. And you even came up with a name for it that sounded pretty unique, so good job. I mean, I suppose Fire Venom isn't super unique, so that's not the right word, but it is something that fits, which is good. So, good job. Help, I'm being repressed. Did you see YouTube repressing me? You saw it, didn't you? That's right, Lux. If you keep doing that, I'm sure that they'll stop. And now we have a Lux comment with 3 children. So here we go. This was also on last week. So we have... I finally have my lore in a state where I'm willing to post it. It's going to take up a couple of posts, so here goes. Alright. Here we go. Though vague, the records we have presented give us some idea of the rise and fall of the first Felkarai monarchy. It should be understood, however, that the concept of truth for the sake of truth is an entirely alien concept to the Felkarai. Whether this trait is cultural or inherent to their psychology, the fact remains that the Felkarai typically place value in knowledge only to the extent that it may prove useful in their pursuit of power. The result of this is that no reliable record exists of Felkarai history, and we must therefore rely on a cultural narrative that most certainly blends the truth with both propaganda and creative fiction. While the value of our study of Felkarai history is widely debated among Dragatone scholars because of this lack of verifiable information, this study does give us insight into how the Felkarai view themselves, and we should understand that the current structure of their society is largely modeled on this narrative, in much the same way in which more technologically primitive societies often use myths and legends about the past. What follows, therefore, should not be taken as historical fact, but understood as a summary of the historical narrative most commonly accepted among the Felkarai, primarily concerned with the aftermath of the events previously depicted. Although Entropy was the first Felkarai to claim the title of Overlord, that title seems to predate her rule, having been used in some form by the rulers of other demon races for an indeterminate but extensive period of time before her ascension. Following Entropy's adoption of it, the use of that title began spreading to other Felkarai sovereigns. Many among this wave of new overlords had already held autocratic power over various colonial dominions of the Felkarai Empire, but now felt emboldened to stake their claims to supreme legal authority within their domains without fear of reprisal from Felkair itself. At first, these claims likely accompanied declarations of political independence from the Felkarai homeworld. In most cases, such declarations were purely symbolic, as Felkarai colonies typically operated with almost complete autonomy from Felkair itself already. However, in breaking these ties of nominal dependence, these new overlords challenged Entropy's actual power to influence their trade relations with each other and Felkair, thus forcing Entropy to reassert her dominance in this regard by military action. The general belief is that Entropy, was largely successful in the field against these enemies, and she was able to restore control over an extensive trade network for herself. These rival sovereigns were, by and large, able to retain the right to bear the Overlord title as her nominal equals, though many of them ended up with less actual power than they had held in the time of the Republic, and some domains were annexed outright as direct territories of Felkair. On the other hand, these subordinates did peel away faster than Entropy could restore her dominance over them, and new colonies continued to establish themselves independently at the same time. So although Entropy's personal empire grew steadily throughout her reign, she was always hard-pressed to keep her grip on that domain, and the greater Felkarai Empire grew even faster. Even so, she is considered one of the most successful overlords to ever emerge, and she is believed to have returned to power several times over the millennia, after the collapse of her first empire. Certainly, many later overlords have claimed to be entropy, and some of these seem to have matched her competence and demeanor. If our evidence is to be believed, entropy abandoned the reins of her empire at its height in the wave of an attack by the Velklar, which was followed immediately by a direct invasion of Felker by surviving Felshi forces. This move has been widely criticized by hawkish Dragatoans, but the Felkari themselves generally regard it as equivalent to a player conceding a game when the outcome has been decided. Like many aspects of Entropy's reign, this move has been widely repeated by other overlords in the wake of sudden disaster. Though whether it is considered wise or foolish depends on whether the situation was later deemed to have been salvageable. Although Entropy's case was debatable in this regard, the political needs of later overlords have generally favored the elevation of her legacy, and so the general consensus has been that she acted appropriately. This conclusion is not necessarily wrong, as Isala most likely did succeed in occupying Felker, though it is hard to say whether Entropy could have changed this outcome if she had remained. In the wake of this event, Calexia shifted her power base to Agrelon, itself a major Felkari world long held by Entropy's empire, for which she launched several attempts to retake Felker. Unfortunately, she never regained more than a foothold on the home world, which she was always eventually forced to abandon, as rebellions in other parts of her empire required her attention. As she was frequently unsuccessful in parts of her empire, as she was frequently As she was also frequently unsuccessful in putting down these rebellions, her empire slowly but surely disintegrated over the course of several decades, until her controlled territory eventually became limited to Agrelon alone. The final fate of this imperial remnant has been the subject of numerous contradictory stories, leaving us with no means of uncovering the truth. Accounts do commonly agree that Agrelon eventually fell by force to some rival overlord. Although, goodness, you really went all out, hey? Although Calexia's tenure as overlord was marked by continual decline, the Felkari do not consider her inept, as she simply inherited a doomed position from the outset. The fact that she was able to assert her authority at all in the wake of Entropy's unannounced abdication is seen as no small achievement. Excuse me. Like Entropy herself, other notable members of Entropy's original government reappear, at least in name, among overlords and other high-ranking officials throughout Felkari history. The most widely held belief is that at least some of these individuals have likely been who they claim to be, while many of them only claim the name for the prestige associated with it. Such claims are risky, of course, as anyone failing to live up to the expectations associated with their claimed identity would be immediately seen as a fake. No overlord since Entropy has ever completely controlled Felker. Isala, who always claimed the title of queen and refused to answer to overlords, stood briefly as Felker's sole occupier, but other overlords in addition to Calexia quickly came to challenge her. While Isala's power in Felker outlasted Calexia's reign in Agrelon, she was never able to completely drive all her enemies out at once, nor did her holdings ever extend far beyond her own homeworld of Sibiris and Felker itself. If these enemies had united against Isala as a single allied force, she would have likely been driven from Felker far more quickly than she was. However, their true motives were simple territorial ambition and they clashed with one another as often as they fought against her. How did I not already like these? Goodness. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Let me get another drink of water. Hearing of Cassette Beast reminds me that there's a game on Steam not out yet called Yolk Heroes. It seems to be a mix of an RPG and Tamagotchi. Really? Oh my goodness. I actually added a fourth child right before the stream started because there was a little bit more information I forgot to include in the main thing. The fire hose has opened up. Alright, let me refresh and get that all set to read. There we go. Okay. There's even more that I have to... That's fine. I didn't say... Why doesn't it save my likings of these? What the fuck? It's super annoying. Save that one. What the fuck? Anyway. Okay. But I'll look into Yolk Heroes for sure. Alright. Having been raised on stories of her Felshi ancestors' destruction at the merciless hands of the Felkarai, Isala likely began her reign over Felker with vengeful intent. However, Felker proved impossible to rule with a heavy hand, as the residents had no fear of laws, and would not respect authority if it did not benefit them. Thus, Isala's reign was starkly contrasted with Entropy's. Entropy had been a frightful presence lurking in the shadows, able to strike without warning against those who displeased her, but who ultimately provided the safety and stability necessary for commercial activity to flourish. Isala at first was merely a looming enemy whose will the Felkarai were determined to defy. However, to her credit, Isala soon became bent to pragmatism and adopted a more accommodating style of rule, negotiating with local communities and economic interests for a more mutually beneficial relationship, abandoning the notion of total dominance that she had originally hoped for. To Isala's good fortune, her Felkarai subjects also placed their own pragmatic self-interests ahead of past grievances, and this new program proved far more successful at stabilizing her control over the world. There were, of course, Felkarai who never forgave her for the initial oppression, though this sentiment was almost certainly amplified for political purposes by rival overlords who had never been directly affected by it. Unfortunately, despite this singular concession to pragmatism, Isala was far too straightforward with idealistic to rule Felkarai with any degree of true success. While such forthrightness was seen by her Felshi subjects as a desirable trait, the Felkarai did not appreciate it as a virtue, but only as a weakness to exploit. She was not naive to this fact, but she did lack the conniving skill of her overlord rivals. Thus, her empire stood at its peak in the moment of her initial conquest of Felker, and that victory was given to her by the work of Chorus and the Shaden Velkalar. From that point on, it only declined, and her greatest victories were only in the reclamation of territory she had previously lost. Isala's accommodationist policy was necessary, and she would have lost her final hold on Felker far sooner without it. But it was nothing without its own drawbacks. Foremost of these, the policy was quite unpopular among her Felshi subjects, many of whom were not as willing as her to let go of their ancient anger towards the Felkarai. This led to a factional split in her primary power base among the Felshi nobility, between those who at least accepted the practical need for accommodation and those who staunchly opposed it. Several Felkarai overlords encouraged by this divide by secretly sending aid to the anti-accommodationist faction through indirect channels. A common tactic was to attempt to send support to the accommodationists, only for those deliveries to be intercepted and confiscated. Given the propagandized nature of the Felkari historical narrative, one tends to wonder why this last detail is so widely asserted. The answer, as Felkari often explain it, is that this story does more to discourage others from attempting to conquer their lands than what denying it would accomplish. Such a willingness to sacrifice their own seems callous, to be sure, though it is hard not to find at least somewhat daunting. Alternatively, it is entirely possible that this narrative was simply popularized at some point due to the common Felkari taste for tales of intrigue, though this possibility is not mutually exclusive with the account being true. At any rate, this factional strife is said to have prevented Isala from fully implementing her accommodationist policies as desired, ensuring that her dominion in Felcare was never fully stabilized, hastening its slide out of her grasp. While much of Felcare was recovered from Isala's control by force, her final withdrawal from Felcare took place under peaceful terms, as she ultimately decided that continuing to fight for control of that world was more trouble than it was worth. After negotiating the sale and transfer of her remaining lands in Felcare to various overlords, Isala withdrew the remainder of her forces to Sybaris. Isala largely disappears from known history at this point, having apparently lost her taste for dealing with the Felkari. Likewise, the Felkari showed little interest in Sybaris, regarding it as too remote and hostile to bother attempting to claim. However, a much later entropy does seem to have invaded Sybaris and vassalized a Snow Queen, identifying herself as Isala. If this was indeed the same Isala, she may have been a longer reigning monarch than any known overlord in all of Felkari history. Perhaps, in respect of this, entropy did not reduce the defeated Isala's rank from queen, claiming instead that an overlord could accept any other feudal title into subordinate service, including that of royalty. While this claim is not exactly grounded in legal precedent, neither have there ever been any real restrictions on what an overlord can proclaim as legal fact. Entropy's reason for going out of her way like this is hard to pin down, especially in light of the fact that Isala was partly responsible for the fall of Entropy's first empire. This could be explained by this being a different entropy from the original, and keep in mind there is no definitive evidence that the original entropy ever actually existed, but the Felkari do not consider this to necessarily be the case. An important point to consider is that this occurred thousands of years after Isala's invasion of Felcare, which would have made that event a distant memory, even for a biologically immortal Felkari. Another point is that the extreme amoral pragmatism inherent to Felkari psychology, which would most likely have regarded that invasion as an opportune move by a rival player rather than a personal offense worthy of a spiteful vendetta. Whatever other motive Entropy may have had for her attack on Sybaris, it is not unlikely that she considered Isala's forced oath of allegiance as sufficient payback. Furthermore, as there is no other discernible reason for this invasion, Entropy's purpose may have simply been to add the strength of the Wilter Felshi to her own forces, which would have given her reason to do all she could to create good relations with Isala and her people in the aftermath. Interestingly, when the incarnation of Entropy's empire drew near to its end, Entropy apparently released Isala from her bond of service. The reason given for this by Entropy was to avoid dragging the Velshi pointlessly into further wars. An alternate reason, often suggested, is that Entropy wished to avoid facing Isala herself in battle again in the event the Felshi Queen sought her own independence. Although this vassalage was never re-established, many stories suggest that a personal alliance between Isala and this Entropy continued thereafter, with Isala often providing a safe haven for Entropy, and Entropy finally intervening on Isala's behalf whenever the Queen's reign became threatened. If these stories are to be believed, this alliance has kept Asala on her throne and entropy alive for an extremely long time. Whew. Long boy night, that's right. A lot of this is to establish how Machiavellian the Valkyrie are. Fair enough. Oh, also, Draco Kraken, I think you were the one who reminded me about the game. Is it RoboQuest? I think it is. Hold on, I gotta look at my Steam really quick. Why is my Steam not opening? It takes for fucking ever. Why is it taking for fucking ever? I don't know. It's on my fucking C drive. Yes, RoboQuest. Yes, RoboQuest. Yes. I've been playing that a lot more because now that it's officially out and everything, and it's fucking great. I play it on hard because I hate myself, but and I can't make it past let's see, what is the area called? Fuck. It's the area right after the first like leg of the journey, after you defeat the first boss. I don't remember what it's called, but it's the like idyllic fucking area that seems like it had a lot of people living in it or something. I don't know. And it's a good game. Everybody should pick it up. Fun. Anyway, back to things. Okay. Actually, let me get another drink. You kill my throat, Lux. My God. Because I feel like I have to do a performance of this as best I can. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. Finally, as for Chorus, many stories exist concerning Entropy's pursuit of her, but details are so contradictory that this must be treated as a body of fiction in its entirety. There is no clear indication that the Valkyrie narrative as to whether Entropy succeeded in exacting revenge against her. Yes. Though it can be noted that no other overlord has ever claimed to be Chorus. Though it comes as no surprise to Dragatones that a traitor's name would not be claimed, this is not truly a stigma among Valkyrie, as many overlords claim their rank through the betrayal of their former masters. Rather, Chorus is seen as lacking the qualities of a skilled overlord for allowing her passions to lead her, as exemplified by her hasty decision to align with the Shaden Velklar, and destroy much of Felkair's technological research infrastructure. Furthermore, it is generally thought that claiming to be Chorus would bring an unnecessary conflict with Entropy's pretenders, who would likely feel obligated to play their role in seeking her destruction. Meanwhile, Dragatone records suggest that an extremist faction of the already extremist Shaden Velklar did recruit a large contingent of Valkyrie warriors several thousand years ago. The leader of these Valkyrie, apparently referred to as Thunder Jingo, quickly arose to prominence within that faction while promoting ever greater heights of violence in the efforts to purge AI. While the Shaden Velklar typically target civilizations for destruction only after they have already implemented AI technologies on a wide scale, the Thunder Jingo seems to have wanted to destroy every species in existence that possessed so much as the potential to establish civilization at all. Oh, the Reapers. This faction ultimately developed a level of sadism which was shocking even to the wider Shaden Velklar organization, sparking an internal war that ultimately led to that faction's destruction. An unaffiliated pirate fleet, also led by a Valkyrie commander, seems to have involved itself in that war as well, siding against the Thunder Jingo's forces. Our scholars find it tempting to surmise that this Thunder Jingo was none other than Chorus. Yeah, that makes sense. And that the pirate leader may have been Entropy in pursuit, though we cannot know this for certain. With the Valkyrie having been explored somewhat, we will next turn our attention to more recent events within our own universe, including those which led to our present state of war with the Cabrasian Empire. Excuse me. Sacrifice. YouTube really does hate me. Nah, well, you know. A lot of the, yeah, that's right. Okay. I thought you were saying sacrifice there. Something else. I didn't realize that one would be so much shorter. Oh, this one's incredibly short. Okay, here we go. Out of character, some additional information I meant to work in, but forgot to. Thunder Jingo is based on Chorus's full name, Chorus Skyfire. Skyfire is a reference to lightning, and Jingo refers to someone who advocates extreme military aggression. Oh. Also, the deal with the Nether Realms in this setting is that they tend to take the form of a dark reflection of mortal realms, where something is lost in the translation due to the more chaotic nature of that level of reality. This ends up looking like something a mockery of the mortal planes and civilizations. Anyway, that should cover it. Cool. Thank you. Long comment. Thank you for the comment, though. Appreciate it, of course. I understand why, but it's still outrageous. It's unfair. True, I agree. Take it up with Miss YouTube, because it's run by Susan, right? Is she the person who runs it? I don't know. Anyway, all right. Well, that's the comments. So, thank you to everybody for submitting your comments. Of course, continue to do so at your leisure, and we will read them at the end of the show. I gotta remember to mention the stuff to Boo about cassette beasts. Now that I've said it again, I probably will. Anyway, that's it. We did it. Oh boy. The final things. Hey, a big thank you again to Draco Kraken, Mog Zero, Rick, aka Unirico, Slazer, Steely, Crimson Rose, Armok, and our tier 1 contributor over on the Patreon. I'm doing taxes right now. So I've gotten the Patreon thing for taxes, and man, taxes are fun. So you make me have to do more taxes, which is cool. I appreciate it. Thank you. Anyway, don't forget you can also join the Ko-fi and stuff. The links are in the description, as well as the links to all the videos we covered today, as well, of course, go get our dice, all the stuff on TeePublic, and going through the Humble Bundle stuff in the description, of course. I mean, other than that, I mean, that's it. Maybe it's censoring your throat, actually. That's what I was saying sacrifice about. Fair enough. But yeah. If you're new, hey, consider subscribing, and consider liking the video, and telling your friends all about all of what we do. And if they like TTRPGs or have any passing interest in it, well then, maybe they'll like what we do. I don't know. We talk about them sometimes. But I don't know. Anyway, that'll do it for tonight. Thank you again for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next week for more stuff. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye, even. Go on. Go on. Leave. What are you doing? Why are you still here? Go on. Get.